Hello and welcome back to Courtside. I'm Andrew Cohen, joined alongside by Mike Randall, Sam Posman. How you guys doing on this fine Monday afternoon?
We're good. Ready to talk some hoops in the middle of football season.
No, it's bizarre to me that the NBA comes back tomorrow, but
I'm very excited
It's crazy,
personally.
actually.
I'm here for it whether I like it or not.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
The next month is like peak sports viewing. We get the baseball
Yep.
playoffs, early NBA action, which is the only regular season action anyone cares about besides Christmas and like the last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
And football's football. Man.
You know what the best part about it is? At the end of that month, World Cup begins, baby.
So we're headed for a great month and then a steep decline.
Michael?
Yes. Although Ted Lasso returns in
We're
December.
replacing baseball with soccer. That's not a huge drop off.
And it's like the pinnacle of soccer.
It is. If there's one thing that I'll watch for soccer, it's the World Cup.
That's true. But America's
Anyways.
going to stink.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whose fault is that?
Well, ours,
I mean,
'cause all our
ours,
good
yeah.
athletes don't play soccer.
Exactly.
All right. I mean, honestly, good on the good athletes for not playing soccer. Anyways,
Let's talk about what they do play.
let's talk about what they do play. Basketball. Hoops. So we have put every single team into a tier to try and organize the discussion.
The Courtside Podcast family tier list.
Yes. And we're going to start with the Western Conference because we always start with the East.
We do.
Because that's where we live.
Well, no, because America was founded in the East, and then we expanded west.
I mean, I always talk about the East first because that's where my team is personally. But let's start with the West. The favorites from the West. The favorites from the West are the Warriors and the Clippers.
I agree.
Sorry, Sam just had to cough. It was motioning for me to mute him and then never coughed.
It's okay. Dead air's not good on radio. Dead air's not good on radio. So while Mike contains himself, you might want to mute both of you. I can handle this solo.
Warriors and Clippers are our favorites from the Western Conference.
I think that Golden State is... I mean, we have to put them there, but mute both yourselves. I can carry this. Mute yourselves.
We're going to restart.
No, we don't need to restart. All
No,
right.
we're fine.
Warriors,
We got to restart this discussion though. Warriors Clippers.
Warriors, Clippers.
Warriors Clippers are our favorites in the West.
The Warriors are defending champs. They bring people back.
Guys
I
get
think
healthy.
Guys get healthy. We're expecting some internal development from the young guys. And the Clippers, I think, if they're healthy on paper, have the best roster in basketball. So
John Wall.
that would be my argument.
John Wall was a big
Can
pickup.
we take a step back from John Wall? Can we just do that collectively as a world? Everyone's out here going like, okay, they've got John Wall now. This is not 2018 John Wall. This is John Wall who's coming off 4 lower leg surgeries. Like, we need to take a step back. This is a team, none of them have actually played basketball since COVID, before that, since the bubble. So, yes, they're favorites in terms of they have the best roster in the league outside of Golden State, and arguably Boston. But it's unproven. It's just we don't know anything about it.
So John Wall, for me, were this, let's say, a Sunday, is like the cherry on top that you can throw away if you don't like. Like,
well done.
The reason I like the Clippers has nothing to do with John Wall. If he's good, all that does is make them more dangerous.
Well, Maraschino action.
Yeah, but the core of the roster is Kawhi and Paul George. You have two versatile two-way wings, which is never not important in the NBA. You have a solid big man. You can play big or you can play small. They bring in two versatile swing men in Powell and Rocco. Is Rocco still there?
Yep.
Robert Covington's still there. Reggie Jackson's solid.
Love Reggie
Forgive
Jackson.
me if I'm leaving out some other role players. We can get into Marcus Morris.
Terrence Mann.
Yes, exactly. Players like that. So I love what the Clippers have anyway. And now if you add in a potentially dynamic John Wall, they only are going to need 60-70% of what he was in spurts. More so to get them through the drag of a regular season, less so to push them over the top in the playoffs. That's my opinion. So the John Wall, you can love him or not, but I think the Clippers, with or without an effective John Wall, are the most talented team in basketball.
That's fair. I think they're a little closer to when the Nets brought their big three together for the first time. I think they're a little closer to that than we like to think.
I don't have a problem with that. The Nets' big three, when they brought them together, was so clearly and obviously going to run their way through the NBA and win a title before cluster injuries hit them. And if your argument is cluster injuries, by all means make it, because that's the issue with the Clippers. But that Nets team was savaging the Bucks before people started getting hurt.
Yeah.
It was a 2-0 series, and those two were like 40-point games.
I know, but we're talking like I feel like the narrative around the Clippers is that they're closer to the Warriors than they are the Nets.
But the thing about the Nets was always first of all, the Nets didn't play defense. That was always their issue.
That's fair.
And it's off the court stuff.
That's fair.
That's really what it came down to. They're like, I don't have those concerns for the Clippers in either of those.
It's just health.
It's just health.
And I'm going to say this for myself here. I think this goes for you guys if I don't want to speak for you. When we start the NBA preview here, we're going to acknowledge each time it needs to be acknowledged that health is significant. But to reiterate that over the course of a discussion in a sport where so clearly and obviously health matters a ton, and we can't predict at all who's going to stay healthy, that we're going to assume general health through the course of the year. Is Kawhi going to play 82? No, he might play 65. I think that's enough, right? So we're going to assume general health, and we may rank teams a little bit just with teams with a little more injury concern. Like, if there was no injury concern for the Clippers, I'd have them definitively as my favorites. The only reason I'm letting it be closer to a discussion is because of the health factor.
And they're an unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the Warriors finish above the Clippers, Sam? You're a big Warriors guy.
I'm a big Warriors guy. I do.
You do?
I do. I think the Warriors also value the regular season more than the Clippers will.
Okay, I'm talking like if you're picking your favorites, like match them up against each other.
If they go 7 healthy, who do you think wins?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually pretty good. That's a very good question. I'm still taking Golden State. I think they have the wings. They have the guys defensively that you would kind of want when you're matching up against the Clippers. Right? Like only Boston or Milwaukee has better wings to defend against that tandem of Kawhi and Paul George than Golden State does.
It's true, but it also goes the other way too. Like the Clippers they have a lot of length.
Yeah, I know, but like, what's John Wall and Reggie Jackson going to do against Steph and Clay?
I mean, sure, but okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. I mean, the Warriors, they're coming off a championship and they feel like they're getting better. So
yeah,
it's always where you want to be.
That's why they're punching each other in practice.
Exactly.
I think in that series, the Clippers have the best player on the court if he's healthy. And I think solidly have the best player on the court if he's healthy.
Pre-injury.
And you say wings, I see wing for Golden State. I don't see wings, plural. I see Andrew Wiggins.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. And Andrew Wiggins played great in the playoffs. And with all due respect to Jason Tatum, he's in the baby stages of what a fully primed Kawhi Leonard is.
Yeah, but this isn't that.
Why not?
Because he's coming off
He does this every time, though.
Yeah, he did this in San Antonio. He didn't play basketball for a year.
I'm going to have to see him not come back from an injury before I assume he doesn't come back. When we saw him last, he was scoring 45 in an elimination game against the Mavs on 70% shooting.
That's fair.
I really could give a rip who you have defending him. He's going to get himself his 30.
That's fair.
And then I don't think they have anybody for Paul George on the perimeter to defend him. Now they have guys that can score and they have versatile players, but what's Draymond doing with Paul George? Not a damn thing. What's Moses Moody doing with Paul George? Not a damn thing. What's Jordan Poole doing with Paul George? Not a damn thing. Right?
Kuminga? Is Kuminga getting in?
Yeah, Kuminga might. But again, guarding Paul George,
fair.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, but then it's, okay, we're going to do Stephen Clay versus Paul George. We know how that's going to go.
You're going to throw, but you could throw Kawhi, Paul George, a number of guys at Stephen Clay to make them uncomfortable. I'm not saying they're going to lock Steph up by any means.
Clay,
I do not think is the same player. You want to talk about concerns about a guy coming back. Now, it's the second year off the injury, so we'll see. He might be back to Clay.
Yeah, he's had an offseason.
But I didn't think he was all that impressive in the playoffs. I thought Wiggins was definitively their second best player in that run. And then I'd go Draymond, and then you're talking Poole or Clay. Now I'll give you Clay, but you're talking about it, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think Draymond Green is steeply declining. I think by the time we get to the end of the season, he may not be playable against a team like the Clippers that can go small. because you can't play 4 and 5 against a team that can switch everything. It's going to kill you.
Yeah.
So, on paper, and I understand that's a big statement to make because part of what makes the Warriors so great is the system and the chemistry. So I don't want to discount that, especially because chemistry's been the only on-court issue we've seen from the Clippers since this group has been together. But based on what I saw when the group was healthy last year, and I'm on record stating I wasn't all that impressed with, albeit a championship Warriors team, that I think a fully loaded Clippers team that's as close to a super team as we have in the league currently, if they're right, I think matches up well and can push Golden State.
They're the closest thing to a super team league right now?
Yeah, look around the... Maybe
Nets.
Milwaukee, maybe the Nets.
The Nets?
Roster alone? Yeah, super team.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But do you think they're a better roster than the Clippers?
No, that's fair.
Yeah. Right. Like I'm not saying there aren't any others.
They're
I'm
probably
saying,
more talented at the top, but one
all the
through
way
eight,
through,
not,
the Clippers go the big two, and then several, like we just mentioned, several guys that can play that third role at any point.
I worry about the Nets without Blake Griffin.
We'll get there.
Really
Hey,
do.
congratulate. Did I already congratulate Blake Griffin on the podcast? I think I did.
I think we did.
Congratulations.
Can't be congratulated enough.
You can't congratulate a man for having a child enough times.
Exactly. All right. Let's go to the next tier. The contenders is what we're calling this. Right? So they're not quite the favorites, but they're up there. They're a very strong team.
They can make a
run. They can make a
finals run. Yeah.
They can make a run. We have the Dallas Mavericks, Denver Nuggets, and Memphis Grizzlies. No. Mavs and Nuggets only.
Mavs and Nuggets.
Mavs and Nuggets
we'll get
only.
To the Grizzlies.
We'll get to the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Mavs and Nuggets. I'm high on the Nuggets this year.
I'm high on the Mavs this year.
I'm very high on the Nuggets. The thing with the Mavs for me is they have Luka, but then they just have this drop off on the rest of the roster, right? Where they don't have a clear second star. And like can Christian Wood be that guy?
He's coming off the bench.
He's coming off the bench
and
apparently.
It's hard to see Christian Wood being a second star on a team playing the teams we're talking about.
And that's the issue for me with the Mavs. Like I don't see them matching up against the Clippers or Warriors in a series and really having much of a chance to pull it. They'll win some games probably, but to win 7-game series feels unlikely. I don't even know if they have enough to beat the Nuggets, to be honest. So like my thing with the Mavs is they could arguably have the best player we've talked about so far. Arguably.
Yeah, they do.
Right? I mean, it's close. But right, let's say they do. The problem is the rest of the roster is just not at a high enough level, in my opinion.
Now, the thing is, I would say if I was making a team and I knew my team, I got to have one star and then just a bunch of bums, if I had to pick one guy to work within that system, I'm taking Luka Doncic in the league right now.
Yeah, I think we all would.
He's an offensive engine unto himself.
He is.
Shout out McRandall for that quote.
Yes.
So, my thing with the Mavs and why I have them outside of favorites but in contenders is because this team reminds me a lot of LeBron's early Cleveland teams where he's so good. And let's be fair now. Luka's not yet LeBron James.
No.
But
It's unproven.
Shut up, Zach. But he's going to give you a puncher's chance in every single series. I do think the rest of the roster around him is well constructed for what he does well.
Mm-hmm.
They play defense. They play perimeter defense. They have gotten deeper up front, which was what they needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I do trust that Luka, as an offensive engine onto himself to a degree, if they can hit shots. And the problem with living and dying by role player threes is, man, can you freaking die by it.
Yeah.
And it's what happened to them in the playoffs last year. If you watched the Golden State series, I never felt like they were outmatched. Role players just shrank in tough moments. And I feel like a broken record talking about relying on role players to hit key shots, but shots that are just base level NBA basketball shots. Because I've spent the last decade complaining about it with LeBron, because every time he goes down, it's him carrying 55% of the load and the other guys can't pick up the next 40%. So I am totally with you, Andrew, in terms of the concerns, but we do have them in the contenders box here. So we do need to highlight what makes them such a good basketball team, and is they have a phenomenal coach, especially defensively, and they have a player who can generate a top-rated offense by himself. And then they are getting Tim Hardaway Jr. back, who we've seen step up big in the playoff series. I could see them I could see them taking out the Nuggets. I could see them taking out the rest of the teams we're going to talk about here. And depending on health, depending on how the season progresses, Luka's already put a hell of a scare in the Clippers twice now. This exact same Clippers team. Yeah. So a better Luka, a more developed Mavs roster around him, you never know. So I like having them where if they get a break here or there, if the Mavs end up in the finals at the end of the season, I'm not in shock.
Yeah.
Now,
fair.
I'm not placing the mortgage on it, hence why we don't have them in the favorites, but I think I like where we have them, and I think Luka himself makes them a contender.
Yeah, I think the one thing with the Clippers, too, is like the Clippers roster is much better. I think it's the best version of the Clippers roster we've seen. That's probably the one thing.
Fair.
That's
very fair.
Right, so it comes down to the stars, and I see 2 on the Clippers, I see 1 on the Mavs.
Yeah,
and so, right, like
I
to
agree.
me, that's the thing is you are relying on the role, and a lot of the role players they have aren't great shooters. Like Dinwiddie he was good last year with the Mavs, but in his career he's not a great shooter. Davis Bertans,
hey, he got $84 million for being a good 3-point shooter.
Right, and then immediately became a bad 3-point shooter.
I know.
So that's the thing, right? It comes down to can those other guys hit shots, and in a playoff series, relying on role players, especially like on the road, that's another thing too. So, but do you want me to get, or do you have anything to say on the Mavs, Sam?
Yeah, I'm good.
The Nuggets. I have this team finishing first in the West in the regular season. Now I don't.
I'm okay.
I don't know if
okay
I don't
with
think
that.
they're gonna. I don't think they would beat the Clippers or like I wouldn't take them to beat the Clippers and Warriors in a series. I think they could. So they get obviously Jamal Murray back. Michael Porter's coming back, and hopefully he can be what he was 2 years ago when he shot like 45% from three instead of what he was last year over the first 10 games. The only 10 games he played, he was horrendous. But they have nice complementary pieces in Aaron Gordon. They brought in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, NBA champion.
NBA champion KCP.
They brought in
deserving NBA champion.
They brought in Bruce Brown, very underrated pickup.
Love Bruce.
Imagine his cutting with Jokic's passing. That's
Yeah, they've got
chef's kiss.
They've got the most well-rounded center in the league. Like,
Bones Highland, year 2, sixth man. Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, if that's your sort of thing. I think the last time we saw this roster healthy, they were close to the top of the conference, and I think they're going to put some things together this year. Coming out, getting those guys, getting Murray and Porter back, and then adding some other pieces after being the 6th seed last year.
Yeah.
That's going to propel them quite a bit.
I don't really think there's much more to add.
No?
I mean, the words of Michael Jordan, Jokic's ceiling is the roof. So, he cannot go. There's no limit to how high he can go. So it'll be fun to see.
We're going to find out how far a true big man, can take an NBA team in today's league.
But he's not a true big man.
He isn't. He's the epitome of what you want a big man to be in 2022.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But he's also like a generational passer.
I know, but no one's mistaking him for Giannis, who can get out and get in a defensive stance and guard the perimeter now. He's a big man. He can't move.
Yeah.
But look at how many teams employ big men who can move. Like that's the modern thing.
Yeah.
Like last year, if you look at the teams that got to the finals, Al Horford, Rob Williams, they play small a lot. The Warriors play small a lot. The Heat were in the conference finals with Bam. The Mavs don't really have a true center besides like JaVale McGee, right? Like that's to play as much as Jokic does, you have to be really good, and he is beyond really good.
He's beyond really good, but to my point, I don't think you could ask for a player whose game, a true big man whose game fits the modern era better, or put a realistically better supporting cast around him than what they have right now in Denver. We've seen the new hybrid big win it in Giannis.
Yep.
We have not seen a big be the catalyst of a champion, a true big, since Shaq did it.
Fair.
So we're going to find out.
Yeah.
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out. All right, should we move to the next tier?
I think we should.
Live Dogs. Grizzlies and Pelicans.
Live Dogs.
Name 2 more exciting teams in the league. You probably can't.
In terms of like on a Wednesday night in the NBA in the middle of February when I'm cold and tired and I don't want to watch an older team just kind of not really care against like the Magic.
Yeah.
Who would I tune in just to see the players play? Yeah. I don't think there are.
They win the Bill Simmons league pass rankings for me, that's for sure.
I'm really excited about New Orleans.
Me too.
Oh, my
Um,
goodness.
I'm a big Zion fan
Oh,
anyway,
my God.
but I'm really excited. Brandon Ingram's coming to his own. CJ McCollum really, I thought, stepped his game up last year
Oh,
when
yeah.
he was
Big
handed
way.
more of the reins. of
Both
the
on
offense.
and off the court.
Yep.
Like his leadership, they could not speak highly enough about that.
I
Yeah.
think the only question that remains here is towards the end of Zion, the one sort of full season we got from Zion, I get it was only about 60 games. Towards the end of the year, when his effectiveness really went through the roof,
Point Zion.
point Zion, he was getting to orchestrate the offense a bit more than I think people expected him to. Now, BI and especially McCollum have taken up that mantle in his absence. Little chemistry experience here. I think the guys are young enough, humble enough, and I think they like each other. I think it'll fit.
Yeah.
That I think they'll be fine. It's not a big concern, but it does bear monitoring for me. Jeez, sorry guys. And the reason why we've made this tier called the live dogs for our listeners is a live dog is they have a lower floor than some of the other teams we've mentioned. Like, we don't realistically see those top 4 teams not winning 50 games.
Right.
Yeah.
Outside of injury. These couple teams could end up in the mid-40s with an injury here or there lower, but they have the potential that if guys develop the way they could, chemistry hits, they get a couple breaks here or there, they end up in the title picture. They could realistically end up in the title picture with the talent they have on their roster.
Yeah.
I think New Orleans is the perfect, the category almost feels like it was made for New Orleans.
Yeah.
Smoothie Cream Center. Live dog.
Live dog.
That's right. And the Grizzlies, I consider putting the Grizzlies just in contenders because
Yeah.
they were that good last year, and they were that good without their star player enough to the point where it's like I can't imagine them having a bad regular season. It's just a question of are they too young, right? Because the 4 teams we put ahead of them are more veteran teams, right? They've been in the playoffs for longer. The Warriors were the dynasty of the past decade, right? So that's really the one thing with the Grizzlies for me. Other than that, though, I think they're extremely talented. They're fun.
We'll see how far Triple J can take them.
Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
So that's my
Yeah.
question on the Grizzlies is they have a team that talent-wise and philosophy-wise, because they focus on defensive end, they're going to do well in the regular season. When it becomes nut-crunching time in the playoffs, if a team can bother or take Ja away for stretches, who do you give the ball to? Not who do you kick the ball to, because I get Desmond Bane can hit
Yeah.
shots.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson, I have little to no faith in the playoffs at this point in his career.
I agree.
He hasn't played well.
No, he's
It's not just he hasn't had experience, he hasn't played well. Now, he's very young. He's a very good player. Do I expect that to continue? Probably not. But
He's
at
the
this
decoy,
point
if
in
you ask
time, I don't see a definitive second option in the playoffs. And you either need to have an established one or you need to have a set of players within a system to which anyone can step up. Like Golden State has 4 guys that on a
Yeah.
given night can do that. Outside of that, and that's a unique situation, the Clippers have Paul George. The Mavs we're talking about, that's their weakness too.
Yep.
We just think their star is a higher caliber star. But they have potentially Tim Hardaway Jr. We'll cast him aside because Memphis has players of that caliber too.
Yep.
But the Nuggets who we're talking about have Jamal Murray, maybe have KPJ. The Pelicans even have Brandon Ingram or McCollum.
Yeah.
I don't see the Grizzlies having that guy, which is why I think their floor as a playoff team, once they get in, is a little bit lower and
Fair enough.
warrants the live dog consideration. But in terms of how they're going to finish in the standings, I agree they're going to be a great team. I just need to see who can you throw the ball to go get a bucket outside of Ja, because the history of small guards in the playoffs is shaky.
Yeah.
It is, and you can't deny that he is a small guard, and he doesn't shoot very well. So
Getting better, though. Improving.
he is, but it's more of a set shot right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right? He's not getting open threes off the bounce with regularity in big spots like Steph's developed the ability to. Now,
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's not make him Steph, but even CJ McCollum to go get a mid-range shot or Brandon Ingram get a mid-range shot. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
We'll see. Next up, we have firm playoff caliber teams. We have the Timberwolves, and then they're in this tier, but they're closer to a G League team, the Phoenix Suns.
They could be playing in China this year.
I'm excited to see the Timberwolves because they're going to be so weird.
Right?
Like, I don't know how it's all going to fit.
It's going to be bizarre.
I miss Pat Bev on that team. I miss Jared Vanderbilt on that team.
Vandalorian.
The Vandalorian. Yeah, the Cat Gobert stuff is going to be fascinating. That's because Cat doesn't strike me as a guy who you'd put at the 4 for big minutes, right?
If they're the number 1 team on my list for, like, would not be surprised if a fight broke out in practice in, like, November. Right? Like, Anthony Edwards just sucker punches the Stifle Tower.
That's your number 1 pick.
That's my number 1 pick.
Your number 1 pick. I believe we've seen.
I was just saying.
I'm saying, like, random mid-season, like, on a Thursday.
So, I disagree. You know why?
Why?
Because I think outside Anthony Edwards, none of the Wolves players have that in them.
That's my point.
If Edwards steps up to Cat is not. Cat may think he'd meet fire with fire.
I wish he wasn't soft.
I think Jimmy Butler. Now, Cat, to his credit, has matured and toughened since that happened.
Yeah, but in the playoffs last year, we were like, why is this guy still soft? That was the number 1 thing we were all saying.
He's matured and toughened, not he's now tough. It's not quite as bad as it was when Jimmy Butler took third stringer.
He's tenderloin.
Sure.
Okay. Sure.
There's technically some muscle, but it's like the softest muscle.
Yeah, so I don't foresee a fight breaking out. I think Anthony Edwards steps up into an MFers phase and says, "Yo, what's up?"
Or something.
And they're like, "I'm sorry, Adam. I'm sorry." I'm like, "I'll be better. And then Terrence Mann will just drop 35 on Rudy Gobert's head, and we'll be done with it. I'm not.
Can we just quick Anthony Edwards thing? Can we not film ourselves saying homophobic things and then posting that? Like that feels like
Pretty
just if you're gonna say your homophobic things, do that. If you're gonna post on Instagram, do that. Now, I'm not equating the two. Obviously, that's terrible. But don't post it. Like that's just stupid. Like what's gonna come of that?
I think people have to just stay off their phones in general.
I like that, Grandpa.
Stay off the phone.
Be real.
Just put
be
the
with
phone
your
down.
friends.
Just put the phone down.
That's the new be real.
Put the phone down. Don't be homophobic.
Don't be homophobic.
And then we'll be fine.
Don't post yourself being homophobic.
Just don't.
Shouldn't have to worry about it in the first place, but if you're going to do it,
just be better.
Be better. Be best.
Can we have a little fun here?
Yes, please.
Let's get to our favorite team. To discuss, that is.
Yes.
The Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix Suns.
Oh.
Is there a team easier to root on their downfall?
No.
Than the Phoenix Suns?
We've been praying like a...
Let's hear the analogy, Sam. Off the top of the dome.
Damn, I didn't even have one.
Oh.
Damn.
Well,
that's a shame.
That's unfortunate.
You guys go and I'll think.
The Phoenix Suns.
The Phoenix Suns. Led by Christopher Paul. And future star of 8 years in the NBA, Devin Booker. And I'm very happy to be here, DeAndre Ayton.
Oh, very happy to be there.
The one man I feel bad for in this situation, which is Monty Williams, who I think is a great coach. And a bunch of role players that are, let's be real, probably going to get traded here at some point because no one wants to pay them.
Yep.
So, on paper and what we've seen
Just
recently...
a really good top-down organization.
Oh, I mean...
Oh, yeah. I mean, the owners stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up human. That's sarcasm, people. It's
terrible guy.
Should not be in the NBA. Should have gone the Donald Sterling treatment, but that's a different long discussion. The Suns, in terms of what the roster looks like, what they've done in recent years, supposedly warrants being in the contenders or at the very least the live dog category. We have them... I wanted to put them in the Shanghai Sharks category at the bottom of the tiers just for the meme. We settled on playoff caliber team, which they are if they just show up and play basketball.
Yep.
They do have good players.
They do.
That being said, they may be one of our great case studies in how personality and chemistry and human dynamics can shred what is a talented basketball team.
Yeah.
Because Monty Williams, I don't think he wants to coach this group. DeAndre Ayton sure as hell doesn't want to be on this team anymore. And with what happened in the playoffs last year, I think there's just some sideways looking at Booker and Paul in terms of like, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Really? Like you let Luka come into your house and do that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You were acting tough when you're up? Like it was probably the most embarrassing end to a season that I remember watching since I've started watching the NBA. The offseason went as poorly as it could. The owner's cheap and very racist. It's
a bad
the
combination.
vibe
Yeah.
in Phoenix is atrocious.
The vibes are in shambles in Phoenix.
Immaculately atrocious.
Yeah. Jay Crowder's probably going to get traded. I think DeAndre Ayton's going to get traded. I don't think
the
he's.
second he can.
I think the second he can, he gets traded.
January 15th.
He was thrilled to be there.
Yeah. I have the Suns finishing 9th in the conference and
Wow.
losing in the first round, losing in the play-in. Because I think the roster by the end of the year, it's going to be Christopher Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges. And I don't trust Devin Booker, and I don't really trust Chris Paul in the playoffs. So I like Mikal Bridges.
We are praying on their downfall, like how Constantine the Great prayed to the Christian gods when he gave up on the traditional Roman deities.
Did you just look that up?
I had to make sure for my class notes.
Okay.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
We'll give you half a point because you had to refer to the Google.
I always confuse Constantine and what's his name, Charlemagne.
Oh,
For
I
no
mean,
good
I do that.
reason.
I do that
me too,
all the
yeah.
time. I mean,
Constantine and Charlemagne, man, just they're interchangeable.
we're with you, Sam.
Yeah, that's a tough
I
Both
one.
would have worked too, because they were both like the first Christian of their.
You could have said
groups.
either of them, and I wouldn't have questioned you.
I know, but
Let's get to the real topic of conversation.
The real
shall
topic.
we, gentlemen?
okay, I'm just gonna mute my microphone. And
Hashtag year of Russ.
Shouldn't have
Hashtag
liked
year of Russ. The Los Angeles
We
Lakers.
created a category. I love how on our show doc, Andrew made a Lakers tier and felt the need to put the Lakers under the Lakers title. So I argued for the Lakers to be in the live dog category, which I created in some sense with the Lakers in mind, where the ceiling
is the roof.
is potentially the roof.
Yeah.
Potentially, if they can make, I do think they need to make a couple moves.
Yeah.
But the ceiling is a title. As long as LeBron James and Anthony Davis are employed, if they can get a couple more pieces, which we'll talk about later, I think in the Buddy Hield, Miles Turner possible scenarios, could be out there. I think there are realistic moves and scenarios that could play out where the Lakers are in the title picture. And man, you put LeBron James in anything close to an evenly matched playoff series, he has one hell of a puncher's chance.
It's over.
That would be my argument. Not that they'll win, not that they will be a contender, that if things play out the right way, which is a big, big if, and I'm certainly not betting on it, they could be a contender. Now, the flip side is we see what happened last year. I don't think that will happen. That felt a lot like everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong, like to an hilarious extent. And I've discussed that ad nauseum.
Right.
Now, even if things don't go poorly to the extent they did last year, I could still see them being a play-in team just because the rest of the roster outside those top two guys is not good. There's no spacing. They don't fit. I don't understand what the backcourt is supposed to be right now. If somehow they keep slamming their heads against the wall and keep Russell Westbrook on this roster, whatever. I think a realistically happy medium here is they end up maybe in the play-in, maybe a 6, but they're probably entering the last week. They're playing to get out of the play-in, and then you're going on the road and you're playing one of those top 4 teams we talked about, which is tough. And at that point, you fall back to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Will they be the two best players on the court for that series?
Yeah.
And that's a big if at this point in LeBron's career with his injuries and, frankly, with Anthony Davis just in general. But I think the Lakers are fine. They are the team to pay attention to and to talk about and to, like, I think they'll be back to relevance enough this year. The soap opera level drama will at least, I think, sounds like going to continue through the first couple months. We already have some Russell Westbrook shenanigans going on.
Why does he not like his team?
So I'm going to defend my guy here.
Okay.
I think that's been part of his routine for a long time. I don't think he's a pregame huddle guy.
Okay.
So I didn't give a crap about the pregame huddle thing. I thought that was overblown. he has his own.
It's people looking to start something on
Exactly.
social media.
He has his own pregame rituals. I don't think it had anything to do with the team. Now, the thing on the court with not responding to the Beverly huddle.
Yeah.
There's a different camera angle that shows him talking to the bench. He may have just not heard him. Those huddles are quick. It dispersed quickly. Now, honestly, I am no Russell Westbrook supporter, as I have established. But he is still Russell bleeping Westbrook, and he's done some damn things in this league.
Yes, he has.
And he's earned some respect that I, at times, have not even remotely given him. And at times, deservingly so. And I think if LeBron James is coming to him, trying to huddle it up, you respond to LeBron James. If Patrick Beverly is grabbing you for a preseason huddle to tell you what to do, and I'm Russell bleeping Westbrook, no, I don't respond to that. I go get in line, and I get ready to get my rebound off the free throw.
That's fair.
Why throwing the lit match of Patrick, and I might be contradicting myself here because I don't remember how I responded to the trade originally, because I have a real love-hate with Pat Bev, and if they get rid of Russ, I kind of like it. But with Russ there, oh man, this is tough. And then you add in Schroeder, who doesn't like either of them either, and then Kendrick Nunn, who I think is actually probably the best player of the group if he's healthy right now, just gonna get thrown to the wayside.
Poor guy.
The backcourt,
That's a good backcourt.
The backcourt is an incredible group of guys to just smush together. What I think is going to end up playing out here, it sounds like Schroeder's banged up.
Yep.
Bev's going to be around. They traded for him. They're going to figure it out. Now, he could be a positive, but in a very specific role. And that role is not him coming in saying, LeBron and AD get to play with me. Like, this man really thinks he was the reason the Timberwolves made the playoffs.
He showed the most emotion.
Not because they had a rising superstar who found his stride towards the end of the year and propelled them to that spot. So, I'm up and down on Beverly. I don't really care if I contradict myself from a previous episode or not. I was up on him. I've been down on him. I'll be up on him again probably when we do another episode, whatever. But with Russell Westbrook, that's all types of dynamite. I think the backcourt will kind of shake itself out. A couple of those guys will probably get moved. Sounds like Schroeder's banged up, so we'll see. I still like the Lakers if LeBron and Anthony Davis can play 65 games apiece. That's my benchmark. That's giving them a 17-game bubble. 65 games. I think they're solidly a strong middle seed, maybe a play-in team that I think gets out of the play-in with relative ease. Things break right. They make a couple additions. They make a big key subtraction. I think maybe a little higher. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well put. Well put.
I don't think we can add anything to that.
No. We can't.
Oh, hold on.
No more Lakers.
No. Literally, I just got a notification. So Schroeder's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks with a surgery on his hand. So not the long-term injury they were worried it would be.
Man, that would be a great reality show. The Lakers backcourt.
It was. So you guys aren't fight fans, but the UFC did The Ultimate Fighter for a long time, which is basically they take a bunch of like regional level fighters, they throw them in a summer camp, like a dorm, and they train with each other, and then they fight each other, and it's just peak human drama. That's basically, like, if you did a tough season with the Lakers backcourt, it would be phenomenal.
Imagine.
Like the infighting, the trash talk, the disrespect, and then they'll all fight.
Yeah.
That would be great.
All right. On the bubble. So these are teams we're expecting to compete at most for the play-in.
Or be bad.
These teams are so not excited. Jesus Christ.
The Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trail
I
Blazers.
voted this be the no one cares tier.
Yeah.
But I think Andrew went with the much more professional and
much more professional.
the right choice.
I'm going to tell us the no one cares
But
tier.
I like the no one cares tier.
Hey, listen, I'm a big fan of using the Sacramento Kings in 2K, so I've started to develop a fondness for them. I found out this morning Matthew Dellavedova is on the Sacramento Kings, so you can book them for the play-in.
Stock up.
You can book them for the play-in.
That's all I know. Winning intangibles?
You want to talk about championship medal?
Did you see Matthew Dellavedova die for one loose ball in the finals that year?
Whoa.
That was crazy.
Speaking of intangibles, Nasir Little, proven winner.
We're not talking about
We're not talking about Nasir Little.
Tankathon.
Shout out Nasir Little for getting the bag, though. $28 million for him, that's not bad, actually.
No.
Tankathon.
Tankathon.
This is where it gets fun.
Is it?
The Spurs, the Thunder, and the Rockets. We know we're missing a team. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
I want to get.
Spurs, Thunder, Rockets.
I want Wembanyama to go to the Spurs, please.
Listen.
Anywhere but Oklahoma City, just because they don't deserve.
No,
the
they
reward
don't.
for
They
this
don't.
Garbage.
No, they don't.
Dude, Oklahoma City's to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, yeah, we're gonna trade SGA because he doesn't fit our timeline.
That I've like mentioned that last year too. Like, why does Sam Hinkie or not Sam Hinkie? Sam Presti.
They're the same person.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah, but why does Sam Presti get so much respect for trading for all these draft picks?
I've said this for a while. This guy put together a roster of Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Serge Ibaka. Never managed to put a title group around them. Mm-hmm. And you can look to roster holes on some of those teams.
Yep.
The shooting around that core was never good.
Yeah.
Dabo Cephalosha.
You can look to that. He never managed to do that. He strips the entire roster for picks. Now, a lot of that's out of his hands. That's fair.
Yeah.
But everyone's going crazy over his ability to get picks, and I'm sitting here thinking, so what's he going to do, guys? He going to hit on the draft like that again? He's going to find another KD? He's going to find another Russell Westbrook? No, he's not. Chet Holmgren's not Kevin Durant. Maybe this kid could be a player of that caliber, but
Chet Holmgren tried to stop LeBron once in a pro-am game?
Pro-am game.
Yeah, and obliterated his foot. Jesus. So now you got a 7'2" guy with a foot injury already.
Those age great.
So
yeah.
I was just gonna say I'm with you guys. I don't want the Thunder to get the pick. Spurs I'd be fine with.
Yeah. Plus it keeps Pop around for a little longer, right?
I don't want Pop around for a little longer.
Why?
I don't think he's adjusting to the game very well.
I don't think whether they get the first overall pick in the draft changes when he would retire.
I agree with that too, but even so, I think I would rather see Wembanyama go to a good organization, which by all means the Spurs are.
Yeah.
If he gets Pop for a couple of years, great. He'll learn some good habits. He'll be competitive. But then get a young coach that he can grow up with. I think that would be important.
I like that.
Yeah.
The Rockets don't really feel like they're tanking.
No.
Now, I think they'll end up being a bad team.
Yeah.
But they got some good young Kevin Porter Jr. just signed an extension today. Real team-friendly deal if he keeps ascending. Real team-friendly deal. And you throw Wembanyama, man, on that Rockets team, and all of a sudden you got a little something you're cooking with.
Yeah.
Some gas even.
Could be cooking with gas. You could
be cooking with gas.
All right, final tier for the West. The Hold My Beer tier.
Can I explain?
Jared Vanderbilt and the Utah Jazz.
So I made this tier name. And this is essentially those other three teams. They're out on the porch. They're talking. They're like, we're going to tank this year. And Utah steps out onto the porch. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're tanking? Hold my beer, baby. And they just fire sale. And I think it's going to continue. They got a few more good players on the roster that they're going to have to trade out.
Absolutely.
They're really just soaking in failure. It's terrible.
They're going to be bad. I don't want them to end up in Utah, man. The Mormons. No one's going to watch them play. They're going to stink.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Hey, Colin Sexton's there, though.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Right?
They're going to have to.
How did that happen?
Did they sign him?
Yeah, well, he signed the extension with the Cavs, and they traded Donovan Mitchell and got him in return. Larry Markkanen's there.
I don't know how.
Maybe
Jared Vanderbilt.
Having sex in your name is going to go over in Utah, though.
That was good, Sam. Okay, moving on. Yes, that's the West. That's the West.
Let's get to the East.
Let's get to the East.
Our
Actually,
home,
let's take a quick.
coast.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the East.
Fair enough.
Okay, Eastern Conference. The favorites are the Celtics and the Bucks. I feel like that almost goes without saying.
Yep.
Who do you think is better? Mike Randall.
The Bucks have been better this whole time, and they're still better.
Wait. They've been better.
They have been better.
I could be wrong. Actually, no, I know I'm not wrong. What happened in the playoffs last year?
Chris Middleton didn't play.
I'm
sorry. In a star-driven sport, for me, it is somewhat relevant when a mid-20 point per game guy who also happens to be a versatile defensive swingman, if he's hurt, he also just, in this case, happens to be a late game closer for said team. It happens to be his role. Not that it's incredibly important in a playoff series or anything. Now, if that guy gets hurt, I tend to think that matters. Now, others in the room, just Chris Middleton, just brush it aside. That's NBA champion Chris Middleton to you, good sir, which none of the Boston Celtics are, my guy. So I tend to think were the Bucks fully loaded with the big three, they win, albeit a competitive series, with Boston. But they do win it, and they go on, and I think the way they match up, they run the Warriors up out of the gym.
No sports hypotheticals.
Injury?
I just did a sports hypothetical.
I know.
Only to say, I don't want to discredit what the Celtics did, and I've said that before.
I don't think you are.
That's how the league works. But in my personal opinion, if you're asking me who's a better team, I thought last year that the Bucks were a better team. I still think this year the Bucks are a better team when fully loaded. They have the best player, which none of us are going to debate.
It's true.
And then I think the supporting cast around them, the Bucks are either better or it's close enough that I think the Bucks are a better team. And then you toss in the coaching question marks surrounding the Celtics, which I understand you're not panicking about, but they are there, and you can make a very legitimate argument that they're going to matter. You at the very least, you can't argue you have the massive coaching edge you had last year when you played the Bucks.
It's true.
That was apparent that Ime was a much better coach than Coach Bud. You can't make that argument that advantage is still going to be there for Boston.
That's a good point.
I'm a little nervous that it sounds like Middleton's going to miss the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, if that lingers, man, now we're back to where we were last year, and it's a different conversation. But I think if the Bucks are healthy, and we've talked about assuming some level of health here, that the Bucks are the better team. Better player, better team, less questions surrounding the organization at the moment. I'm going Bucks, with no disrespect to the Celtics, but I do think the Bucks are a better team.
Andrew, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go. Okay. I'll go. Give me the team on the rise. Give me the team on the rise.
I'm the deciding vote.
Give me the team on the rise. I mean,
the Celtics fan is this.
Now listen. Malcolm Brogdon is not as good as Chris Middleton, but let's not act like the Celtics didn't improve in the offseason. Where did the Bucks really get better? They had like Joe Ingles, I think, right? Mm-hmm. But he's coming off an injury, so we have to see. I think he's on the wrong side of 30, as they say. The Celtics are by far the team that matches up best with the Heat in the Eastern Conference, maybe even in the league.
You mean the Bucks?
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah, with the Bucks.
Yes.
Yeah, in the Eastern Conference. Maybe they don't match up as well as like the Clippers, but even then, I would say they probably match up better than the Clippers because they have better defensive big guys. So, we had this conversation last year where they match up really well with Milwaukee. Now, to be fair to Chris Middleton, he does play like Michael Jordan against the Celtics, especially in the playoffs. The thing is, the Bucks were up 3-2 with Game 6 at home with Giannis, and they lost. They didn't have any trouble closing out games in that series. That wasn't their issue. I don't know. I have a hard time saying I also think the Celtics could have played better, and I think they will play better next time around. I think they dropped some games they should have won. So we could play this game all day with the Chris Middleton thing. I think the Celtics roster as a whole, outside of Jason Tatum, is better than the Bucks roster as a whole outside of Giannis. And I think that is going to make a big difference. The Celtics are the best defensive team in the league. They will be again this year, especially once Rob Williams comes back.
Are they, though?
Yes.
The very thing that made them the best defensive team in the league is no longer in contact with.
You think they forget how to play the defense?
No, but we have to remember that this is a Brad Stevens guy coming in who learned from Brad Stevens. Yes, he'd be stupid to go back to the Brad Stevens system, but Ime Udoka didn't play the same defense against every team, right? Like, he'd be an idiot to do that. Like, there's little different changes you make.
To me, the whole coaching staff is the same, and
But it's not.
The rest of the coaching staff is the same as last year.
Okay.
I think they're running what they did last year. That's what it seems to be. That's what the reports are.
If your head cut off, the rest of your body's still the same. Doesn't mean it's going to be equally as effective.
But all the players are still back. Like, there's really no new players with the exception of Brogdon.
Okay.
And Blake Griffin, right? Like, all the guys played the defense last year. They're not just going to forget how to play the defense. You don't forget how to play cover 2 just because the defensive coordinator who taught you how to play cover 2 went to another team.
Yeah, I know. But high school teams play cover 2 and NFL teams play cover 2, but it doesn't mean it's the same thing.
Yeah, but one NFL team, okay. An NFL team who played cover 2 one year lose their defensive coordinator, but then an assistant comes up and wants to play the same cover 2, and it's all the same guys. They play the same cover 2.
It doesn't always.
I'm
with Sam. I'm not acting like there's going to be some massive drop off with the Celtics because all of a sudden, Ime, you seem to be taking the approach of it almost doesn't matter.
It almost doesn't matter. Yes.
It almost doesn't matter.
Ridiculous.
I think that if you're going to argue that NBA coaching matters at all, that's a hard thing for me to get behind. Because like what Sam's saying is, yes, they know how to run the scheme. But do they know how to run it for this, and that they're going to face throughout the course of a playoff series? I've seen final series be decided in part because of what I believe happened on the bench. Ty Lue is my biggest point of emphasis for that. That what he did in 16 with that Cavs team, defensively, the personnel on that team was not phenomenal. And they figured out a way to hold that Golden State team to 89 points. You remove Ty Lue from that team, I don't think they win the title. I think we're talking about the 2 best teams in the conference, one with definitively, now let's not get this twisted here, definitively the best player on the planet, and he is a tier above Jason Tatum at this point in time.
Okay.
And that is with Jason Tatum being a player that I think is a great player, will get better. I think Jason Tatum could take the next leap, and he is still not Giannis. Now, Giannis didn't have a swingman at all. Secondary scoring was a big issue in that series for them. Like I said earlier, just who are you going to throw the ball to, man? They're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Giannis. Drew Holiday had way too much say in that offense. You heard that from me over and over again. Yeah. Middleton matters a lot. I agree the Celtics roster got a little bit better. Their defensive front is damn thin. That matters too.
Yep.
Foul trouble in 1 or 2 key games against freaking Giannis Antetokounmpo. You can't expect that not to happen once or twice. It's going to matter. And I think we're talking about splitting hairs to go to the finals here. Ime has to account for something. Because you saw the jump between the team with him and without him. They made a jump when he got there, a seismic jump. Took a little while.
Yep.
But it did happen. I don't think you can expect him to have no impact when it gets down, when he gets to the deep water of the playoffs. Because we're talking about probably another 7-game series. I think, is he worth 3 key possessions in a playoff game?
Yes.
Over a guy who's never been a head coach before?
Yes.
I think it's fair to say he's worth at least that, if not more. So I already thought the roster was better. Now you take away a coaching advantage for the Celtics. They got a little bit better. They sure did. But if you're going to make the improvement argument, you take the 2 rosters that played each other in the playoffs. You add Brogdon. They lost Gallo, so you add Brogdon to that Celtics roster. Now you take that Bucks roster that went 7. You sign Chris Middleton in free agency as a hypothetical. You sign a 23-point-per-game guy with championship experience. Who improved more? If we're looking at the roster that played each other
No, it's apparent.
2 weeks.
Yeah. It's apparent.
Who got better?
I could also throw in Rob Williams if I wanted to, though. I could throw in Marcus Smart missed a couple games. Like, the Bucks got better. And the Bucks
Giannis
got
was
better.
playing hurt too, right? Like,
Jason Tatum was playing hurt, too.
Yeah, Giannis wasn't. You're
Like,
going to be banged up
again,
here or there,
yeah.
but I think at the very least, Ime has to account for something. And I think Middleton, we got to give him a little more respect for what he is. He's an established all-star and high-end playoff performer.
may I go?
Yeah.
Monty's the best player in basketball, like by a country mile.
Okay.
Like you ask anyone who the best player in basketball is, that's the answer.
Yeah. He had a 3-2 lead last year going home, and he lost. And that's not to discredit Giannis. I'm just saying you can't use that as the argument against the Celtics.
Because his coach,
solely.
Because his coach was like, we don't have to defend Grant Williams in Game 7. And it came down to Boston's 8th man going for 27 in a Game 7 to
It's
win
because they left him open. That's why
my
you
point.
take it.
I know. But that's not because of Giannis.
Okay, Mike Budenholzer's still there.
Okay. And Ime Udoka's not.
Okay.
And Ime Udoka, if we were to do the revisionist history, who should have won the awards, Ime Udoka should have been Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
And that's the best coach in basketball for last season, and he's no longer there.
What if Joe Mazzulla's going to win Coach of the Year this year?
If Joe Mazzulla was that guy, then the Jazz would have hired him instead of the other Celtics coach that they hired, which was Will Hardy.
Will Hardy?
Yeah. So
very close finalist.
okay, great. Celtics were too. No one has a trophy for that.
Okay.
Like, it pains me to say this, but Ime turned not the way the team played, not just that, but the way the team thinks. And that is, I don't understand how we are just going to write it off as, oh, it's going to be fine. Joe Mazzulla's going to come. And he's
I'm
gonna
not writing it off. I'm just saying that stuff doesn't go away just because Ime Udoka isn't there. If you're a championship team...
Which they're not.
Oh, yes, they are.
Do they have one?
No, they're not.
They're a champion.
No, they're not. The Bucks are a championship team.
They didn't show us.
Yeah, they crumbled in the finals.
I think they can be. I don't want to get disrespectful here. We're having a great debate about this, and I think it's razor thin and warrants it. You're not a champion until you get over the hump.
Yes,
and they didn't get there, and you saw them hit a wall in the finals. That's not something that's easy to get over.
And mentally. That's the...
Yes, that's not something to get over. Now, I personally have faith that Tatum at some point in his career does get there.
Oh my God, they're going to do 100%.
But that's not the argument. You can't make that argument, especially against a team in Milwaukee we saw do it.
Okay.
And a guy in Giannis we saw do it.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
Right?
That's fair enough.
We saw Tatum not do it. We saw Giannis do it. Now, we saw Tatum have that 46 piece in Milwaukee. We're by no means discrediting him. And we're not discrediting the Celtics as having the ability to take down the Bucks. But I'm just saying, as we sit here today, fully loaded, they're clashing with the with what's going on with both teams right now. I feel confident in Milwaukee. I felt confident in Milwaukee last year without Chris.
Yep.
And I think he gets underrated.
He gets super underrated.
I think you almost wash him and Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown's a little bit better of a player, but you almost wash them.
Yeah.
And I think over the course of a 7-game, Giannis is significantly better than Tatum, which he was outside of Tatum had his moment, and I give him full credit for that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to bet on Tatum for his second year to bail you out with the best game of his career, which it was by a lot, that's a tough sell to me against a championship team.
Okay. Fair enough. Hey, the beauty of basketball is you get to see it play out.
They're going to play the game.
You get to see it play out.
It's all fun and games, so Brooklyn takes down Boston in round 2.
Speaking of Brooklyn,
that'd be horrible.
The contenders.
How's Ben Simmons back?
Guys, huge news out of the NBA. Campazzo to the Mavericks.
No way.
Bump him up a tier.
That is listen, that's the second best backcourt in the NBA behind Pat Bev and Russell Westbrook.
Up a tier. Has there ever been a better international pairing in NBA basketball?
No.
I think not.
No. There really just hasn't.
Especially if you make it a white European guard tandem in the NBA. Then it's trickier. Now, Parker and Ginobili were good.
They weren't.
But were they Luka and Campazzo good?
Well, I mean, we're specifically focusing on the Campazzo part.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Luka's playing second fiddle here,
exactly.
Let's be real.
Anyways, contenders in the East are the Sixers, the Heat, and the Nets.
The Heat, I'm so done with. Can we just be done with them?
I think
for contenders?
No, not. Yes, they're contenders, but like, if I had to pick a team right now in the league to just make them go away. So like the other teams with the more fun narratives and the more fun players to watch could have like better chances of not getting bumped in the second round of the playoffs.
I think
the Heat would be like number one team.
I'm fine with that. Besides that, Jimmy Butler.
Fair.
Yeah.
Aside from that, get rid of him.
Yeah. No, but I think the rest of that roster is highly questionable.
Highly questionable.
Like Kyle Lowry, we're not really sure. Like, is he washed? Or is he just too old now? Like, he's not the same guy.
Bam's a crybaby.
Do we know if Bam's good?
Hero's delirious.
We know Bam is good, but do we know he's that guy?
We know definitively he's not that guy. I think
we
have a body of evidence that come playoff time, he is Draymond Green. If you ask him to play defense, pass to a level, not a Draymond level, but pass to a level, play defense, rebound, give you 10 points.
That's good.
Absolutely, well within his reach. The fact of the matter is, despite Jalen Rose begging for a Bam Adebayo game at some point in that series, outside of getting, God bless his soul, Daniel Tice, Bam Adebayo he's not giving you more than 17 points in a playoff game, especially a big one.
Anytime Rob Williams stepped on the court, Bam Adebayo disappeared. They're basically playing 4-on-5.
There was a decisive advantage to Boston in the front court.
It would be one of those where like it would be a free throw and they'd pan to someone talking to a ref and it's like Bam Adebayo's on the court right now.
Yeah, it wasn't that he was missing shots. He wasn't taking shots.
Yeah,
and he didn't have the ball in his hands.
Me and pickup.
He was turning down shots.
He was turning down shots.
He wasn't just not taking. He was turning them down.
Speaking of turning down shots,
Ben Simmons. He's back. He's actually going to play basketball this year.
he is going to play basketball this year. Defend, at least.
I think the Nets are a mess. That's the understatement of the year.
So
They're
are you okay?
done so
So,
far.
because this, just to be clear for the people listening, the tiers were a collaborative effort.
Yes.
I'll say my piece on the Nets. Are you okay if you, in your own personal, would you have them this high?
Oh yeah, this is where
You would.
this is
Okay,
where I
you're
put
good
them
with them in
because they have Kevin Durant.
Talented.
Okay.
They have Kevin
Okay,
Durant.
there you go.
They have Kevin Durant.
Kevin bleeping Durant.
Kevin bleeping Durant. They have Durantula. They have Durantula.
Shit.
They have the Slim Reaper.
They do.
He's a bad.
The Austin Assassin.
But
He's a bad dude.
That was good. I just came up with that on the spot.
listen.
Bad.
Thank you.
Talk about vibes being in shambles. The vibes are in shambles in Brooklyn. They don't like the coach, even though they wanted them to hire that coach.
Well, because they thought he was a beta and they could coach. And
Yeah,
they were
well,
like,
That's exactly why they have him.
remember Kyrie said, "Well, I think we're all coaches. We don't need a coach because we can all coach."
and then they let him coach and he was terrible.
Yeah. Kyrie's unreliable as hell. Ben Simmons, unreliable.
It was a joke, Cohen.
Unreliable. That's the word for them. Unreliable. Except for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, they've got the greatest scoring forward of all time. But other than that,
That's
they're in
but
shambles.
that's the issue. They are in shambles, and so it's incredibly high ceiling, incredibly low floor.
Yeah, we're talking like
I mean, they were in the play-in last year with Kyrie and KD, and they started the season with James Harden.
and half of James Harden, but that was fat James Harden. So it's okay.
Speaking
Not
of James
exactly-
Harden,
Speaking of James Harden, he's thin. The beard is frisky.
the friend of the show, James Harden, he's back.
Whoa.
What?
I have not said my piece.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Stir the pot a little bit.
Go ahead.
I'm in on the Nets this year.
That's
Yeah, on
actually
the Nets.
not a bad take.
I am in on the Nets this year. I think had a little summer drama.
Well,
Little,
spring fling,
The eyes were wandering.
summer
you know?
loving.
I just completely lost my train of thought.
I start
Nice
All right,
one.
wondering about
So
some
let's stir the
sundresses.
pot a little bit. I'm in on the Nets, all right? The Nets. Little bit of summer drama. It's the NBA. You start looking at other destinations, grass is always greener. It happens.
Summer loving.
Summer 11. So, in all seriousness, I weirdly think the situation in Brooklyn was everyone tries to do their own thing, doesn't work out. I think KD trying to get rid of Nash was himself trying to get traded.
I agree.
I don't think it was the actual power play to get Nash out.
Forgot about that little
He
saga.
doesn't make him a good coach.
No, it doesn't.
No, he's a terrible
But what
coach.
I'm saying is I think there's going to be an element here, too. We had all this chaos. Everyone wanted to go in separate directions. But you know what? It didn't happen. Let's just hoop. Let's just play the year. If everyone wants to go their separate direction afterwards, so be it. But Kevin Durant just wants to play basketball. I know that. I think Kyrie Irving's the wild card for me that I'll never feel good about. But the rest of the roster is not a disaster around them. They still have Patty Mills, I believe. They still have some solid role players.
They honestly had a good offseason. If they got Royce O'Neal, T.J.
Royce
Warren,
O'Neal, yep.
yeah, like
they added some good players.
TJ Warren?
yeah.
You know Kevin Durant's going to show up and give you 30. We'll see what we get from Kyrie Irving. But to be honest with you guys, I think Ben Simmons is going to have a good year. A potentially all-NBA year.
That's fair.
Now, big statement to make. I understand with what happened last year. But the player he was before what went down in Philly went down. And I'm not going to speak for Simmons because it seems that a lot of opinions were cast and jokes were made. It seems to have been a legitimate mental health thing when you let him sit down now a year out and talk about it. But the player he was beforehand, we were watching some old highlight like him and Jared Dudley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he took the ball to the rack once and we were like, whoa, who's that? We're like, that's Ben Simmons. That's all
He's a
NBA
good
player.
basketball
He's
player.
a great basketball
He's
player.
the most versatile defender in basketball.
When
Like,
he's right,
yeah,
Giannis.
not versatile. Giannis is better, but Ben is more versatile.
I'm a good argument. I'm not going to kill you for saying that.
All right.
He gives them two elements they didn't have last year. Facilitation. Man, did we ever see that in that Boston series.
Yep.
They would have killed for a Ben Simmons. And the boy can play some D. And he understands, more importantly, I think at this point in his career, that's his role, is to facilitate and play his butt off on defense. And I think that's what Brooklyn's been missing. I think that fits incredibly well with Kevin Durant. We'll see how Kyrie fits in. A little bit of a question mark, but I don't think it's going to be disruptive enough this year. We're set back from the pandemic a little bit. A lot of the noise and the chaos in our world and society, I don't want to downplay what's happening in the world because there's always something. It's a little bit lessened. The vaccine issue is not at what it was last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On paper, talent-wise, they're as good as any team in basketball. You have Kevin Durant. I know it's going to show up. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt one more time, and if it kills me and we come back and this is a freezing cold take, then so be it. I'm going to rely on Ben Simmons for a year. I'm going to give him Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons and that supporting cast, and I think that alone is enough to contend. What you get from Kyrie is almost a bonus. And hey, man, if Kyrie Irving's your bonus and you get anything from him, we're talking about one of the most talented scoring guards ever. So I'm up on the Nets as contenders. I think they could, if they're right, big if, but if they're right, they could push Milwaukee or Boston matchup-wise, stylistically. The players they have on the team could absolutely push them. I think it's a completely different dynamic for Boston defensively last year if Ben Simmons is playing Ben Simmons basketball. Because you can't just do the swarm to Kevin Durant. It's a little bit of a different system. Now, I'm not picking them to beat those teams, but I'm up on the Nets. I'm up on them over the Heat, over the Sixers. And we'll see if they can push some of the top-tier teams. You know Kevin Durant's going to show up and give you 30. That 4-game series in Boston, credit to Boston, that's an aberration to me until I see it happen again. Because we have literally never seen him have a bad playoff series until last year. I think circumstance dictated a little bit of that. So
Crazy what Ime Udoka's defense has turned to.
What?
I said it's crazy what Ime Udoka's defense has turned to.
It is, right?
Yeah.
I'm really worried about him like scheming something up. He's
yeah.
not here this year. But that doesn't matter though, because they got some guy off the street.
They did.
All right, I'm up on Brooklyn. Sorry if that spiel was a little long.
All right.
Let's go Ben
But-
Simmons. A little bounce back here.
It's unfortunate the Brooklyn Nets are not as good as the Philadelphia 76ers. James Harden's
Yeah,
back.
they're not as good. They're better. Like, they're not the same level of good. They're a better level of good.
That was cute.
That
That was
would-
cute.
I think he's
No?
right.
Oh, no, give me the Sixers. It's too many ifs for me. It's just too many.
Okay, well, you know what the
Okay,
Sixers is?
yeah, let-
Sixers are a second-round playoff loss. There you go. Are the Nets better than that?
No.
Are they as good
I
as
think
that?
they're at least as good as that.
Yeah, they're at least as good as that.
Oh, well, I would
Because
I would
will
say
tell you
that's
right now how the Sixers season ends.
Okay. I think there's something brewing in Philly this year. I think there's something brewing. I think
Some Sam Adams.
well, the thing with Philly losing in the second round is you're always like they should have won that series every time. I mean, if they faced the Celtics or the Bucks in the second round, it's not the same type of
Or the Nets.
yeah. Maybe I at that point I would have to know what the Nets are looking like
That's fair.
if they meet in the playoffs. But Embiid, Harden is reinvigorated. He's thin. He's saying all the right things, which he didn't used to do. I think you're going to bounce back here from him. You got Maxey. You brought in PJ Tucker. Doc Rivers is a championship head coach.
That he is. Can't argue that.
I think there's something brewing there. I think the key is Harden. That's the key, and I expect a big year from him. The Sixers will finish third in the East. To me, they're firmly the third best team in the East.
I'm excited to see Embiid this year, actually. You mentioned Harden. I'm gonna go the flip side
But
with Embiid.
I think one of the keys, though, is if Harden's that good this year.
Yeah.
And he doesn't need to be old Harden.
No, but I'm just talking about what I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I'm
like,
saying that's going to open things up for him.
and there's also going to be a little FU to Embiid's game this year because I think he took the Jokic thing personally with the back-to-back MVPs.
I hope he did.
I'm at the point where I could care less how Joel Embiid looks, how he talks, if he took things personal, if he cried after the season ended. I could care less.
Couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate the grammatical assist. Couldn't care
Well,
less.
technically, you're right. That's the expression. But it's one of those expressions that humanity is just...
Everyone messed up.
Yeah.
Couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. Joel Embiid to me is a great player. And I am completely uninterested in what he does. until May.
Valid.
Completely uninterested.
Yeah.
Giannis will rip his soul from his body if they play in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
if that's the second round matchup. That sucks. You put him on the floor with Kevin Durant, man, you know where I'm leading. So you're going to have to prove that to me. I just said I believe. I think if the Nets are solid to the point where they meet the Sixers, they don't have what the Celtics had to throw at KD. I am not, as I'm making clear, a huge believer in Embiid come postseason time. I've never been a huge believer in Harden. Now, is it good to see him say the right things, potentially get in shape? Sure.
It's also, what, like 33?
I was just going to get to that. I am not a believer in Harden, but I am a fan of Harden. I'd like to see Harden do well. Friend of the show, James Harden.
Friend of the show.
That being said, I think he's on the downturn. I don't think he's taking care of his body phenomenally well. I think he started to age last year. I think the rules to him matter a little bit, especially come playoff time. I saw a guy that had a hard time separating in the playoffs last year to get shots off. Tobias Harris, to me, is just a very,
Just a
very
guy.
expensive...
Have you ever seen Tobias Harris sprint?
No.
Right? Weird.
I just see him take that
Yeah.
pull-up mid-range shot, and it looks gorgeous until it gets to the rim, and then it never goes in. It looks great until it doesn't go in. Maxey, I like, got a little dog in him. I don't think he's a world beater or a game changer if we get deep into a playoff run. I'm with Sam. Like, I sound very critical, and I say all that. I am agreement that their season ends in round 2, as it always does. I don't care about a revenge season from Harden, from Embiid. Those are not guys that put any fear into my heart when it really matters. When it comes down to winning, man, we're talking about the NBA.
Yeah.
Practice.
These are the best basketball players on the planet. When it comes down to, are you going to do what you need to win? Not are you going to put on a good show, you're going to talk a lot of game, you're going to get the crowd hyped up. I need a bucket. I need a stop.
It's not those guys.
Bro, Kevin Durant, the whole freaking Celtics organization, and
Yeah,
Giannis Antetokounmpo, give me them all freaking day. And honestly, I'll have to see them get through Miami. Now, I think they're a better team than Miami, but Philly's got this thing about just being soft when they shouldn't be soft and letting teams that shouldn't hang around and beat them hang around and beat them. And do I think a Jimmy Butler-led team is going to be tougher than a Joel Embiid-led team at the end of the day? I do.
Entirely.
The Joel Embiid team is more talented. They should win. They very well might win.
They'll fall to the ground.
But I'm going to have to see them win that series before I start believing in their late-season toughness.
Yeah.
So, Sixers absolutely should be in the contender category, talent-wise. But they're going to have to show me that they actually have some of that dog they all seem to think they have before I believe in them.
Speaking of dogs,
Live dogs in the East.
Live dogs.
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Kind of
Good,
speaks for itself.
solid
a
team
little
from
bit.
last year. You add an all-star guard. They could shoot way up. They could stylistically kind of pitter-patter and stay around the same. So we'll see.
Yep. Young core, though. Garland, Jarrett Allen,
Potentially
Mobley.
really fun young core.
Yeah.
My
Isaac
only
Okoro.
concern, wings.
Yeah.
Okoro's a good defender. He can't shoot real well.
Mm-hmm.
Teams that are built too heavily on the front end and the way back end in terms of bigs and these are small
Yeah.
guards now. These aren't big boys. You run into a team that's led by a JB and a Jason Tatum
Yeah,
or a
that's-
Middleton, Holiday, and Giannis.
Yeah.
Which what you got to get through. A little bit of trouble. Honestly, similar to my critique of Philly in terms of how the roster shakes out. They don't have people to throw at KD or really make Giannis uncomfortable. So,
All right. Now, next up is firm playoff caliber teams. I did that twice. We have the Toronto Raptors and the Atlanta Hawks. The Raptors are just like, they feel like one of the most average teams in the league, or like average, like good teams in the league. But they're really strong at every spot.
They're just a B+ everywhere.
But yeah, you don't look at them and you're like, wow. Pascal Siakam.
Spinny Pete.
yeah.
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 Can't wait
Pascal.
to watch him.
It's
do a
like
spin
they're
move into
all
the low
guys.
block.
He's gotten better since then.
I know,
don't
but
wanna
I
hear the
refuse to
spinny
admit it.
P.
It's, if they had a guy like Kawhi Leonard on the roster,
Oh, I wonder what that would look like.
I could see them doing some special things.
Yeah.
But that's the issue.
I could see them sending Joel Embiid home crying.
I could see
I
that.
could see that happening.
He
But-
traveled on that plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Joel Embiid butchered the defensive rotation on that.
Yeah.
That also happened.
Set an all-time great screen on Ben Simmons
Yes.
on that play.
Yeah.
He just met him at the
Phenomenal. It was like he thought Kawhi was pulling up like 8 feet before he did.
Yeah. I think the Raptors are going to be fine. They'll be a good team this
They'll
year.
be fine.
The Hawks, they bring in DeJounte Murray. We'll see how that works with him and Trae Young. I'm not convinced it's going to work. At least not right
I
away.
think it'll be good enough to be a playoff team in the East. I don't think it's anything spectacular.
No.
Again, Trae Young had what I believed will prove to be a flash in the planned playoff run.
Yeah.
Aside from that, he's a good regular season player. He'll be good for a while. They'll hang around contention. They'll never get up over the edge.
Yeah.
So
On the bubble, teams competing for the play-in: Bulls, Hornets, Pistons, Knicks, Wizards.
There's legitimately one exciting team here. It's
I
the
like
Pistons.
the Pistons and Bulls out of that group to make the play-in.
I do too. Bulls, man, I hope Lonzo gets right. He's done such a good job of just putting his head down, working, and turning his career around from the clown show that his dad created and becoming. Look, man, there are a lot of players that, again, he's not healthy, but if he were, he would be among the few players on my dream list of who could I just snatch and put on the Lakers next to LeBron James.
I would say the same thing about the Celtics.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
So I root for him just as a player. I like a lot of the players on that team, DeRozan and Caruso. I think they'll be solid. I think they'll be what they were last year for the most part. Pistons are really fun, really young, really talented.
Yeah.
The Knicks are fun because they're Knicks, and maybe they'll have a little fight to them this year, a little kick. I created, when we first started doing the tiers, I made the no one cares tier for the Hornets. That was what it was for. I think I gave LaMelo Ball the no one cares award.
Yep.
Because he's going to put up counting numbers and they're going to either miss the playoffs or lose in the play-in. And no one cares.
Right.
And the Wizards might even be more of a no one cares, except I just like Bradley Beal more than LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
Aside from that, whatever.
And Kristaps.
Yeah.
And then finally, Pacers and Magic. I think the Pacers, they're going to look to dump Buddy Hield. And I know they've been saying this for 5 years now, but they're going to look to dump Miles Turner. And so the roster's just not going to be good enough. The East has a lot of good teams. And then the Magic, who I think they're just too young. I think they're too young and they're not as good as the Pistons.
Now, I know they don't have the organizational cachet that a San Antonio does. But what if things go a little iffy for the Magic this year? They drop into the lottery, as we expect them to. Probably not as the top lottery team, but that's not how the lottery works, so who cares?
Yep.
They end up with a number 1 pick. I like Paolo Banchero next to Wembanyama a lot more than I like Chet Holmgren next to him. I don't love their guards, but they are good young NBA guards who could ascend. They only got a hit on one of them. Franz Wagner easily can play next to stars. That's his game.
Yeah.
D and 3 wing. Versatile.
You know what I might do if I was the Magic? You take Wembanyama, and then you start to look to trade some of those other young pieces and your future draft picks.
Oh, I would.
And you try to get an established star, and then you try to pair him with Wembanyama, and maybe you keep Paolo depending on the caliber of star. Maybe you don't.
They do have Jonathan Isaac to trade.
Jonathan
Hasn't
Isaac.
played in a while, but teams still are
Is he
hiring
still
him.
playing basketball?
Yeah.
He's coming. He's working his way back.
Is Wendell Carter?
Wendell
in
Carter's
Chicago now.
No. He was
in
in Chicago. Now he's
now in New Orleans.
Jonathan Isaac's been working his way back in the same way that Devin Booker's 1 year away.
Yeah, but this case it's sad. He's a good player. It's funny with Devin Booker.
Yeah.
No one likes Devin
You got
Booker.
Markelle Fultz. You got Bol Mo Bamba. Plenty of guys to move. I think that'd be an interesting landing spot.
What if the Shea and Wembanyama pairing happened in Orlando instead of Oklahoma?
That'd be hilarious.
It'd be pretty good.
OKC decides Shea doesn't fit the timeline, and they trade him for Cole Anthony, who's a year or two younger. I don't even know if he's actually younger.
He's not very good either, but a good
RJ
player,
Hampton or whatever. I don't know if he's still in Orlando.
Age.
Anyways, that's the Eastern Conference. The Celtics are the best team. The Bucks are they're a good Good rival.
We may have had our that was false. We may have had our most spirited debate.
That was a
And
really
I think
good debate.
best
too.
Yeah.
debate. on that.
Yeah.
It was very logically driven.
Now Andrew was convincingly, strongly wrong, but he made a great argument in doing so.
He did.
Just like how you guys, well, I wouldn't say you were convincingly strongly. I wouldn't say you were convincing on the Mac Jones argument from last week.
Hey, even General Custer had a great last stand.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, and then we'll get into our awards predictions. NBA awards. Let's start off with the MVP. Who's going to win MVP this year, Mike Randall?
Luka Doncic,
Luka!
offensive engine unto himself. He's been the favorite the last 2 years and coming out of shape. Looks like that's not going to be the case this year. He's closed the season each of the last 2 seasons at MVP form. So I think, frankly, he starts it out. There could be a little bit of maybe some voters looking to get the next young superstar an MVP on his mantle. So I could go on, but I think it's Luka. I think he's a solid pick at this point in the year.
I'm with Mike.
I agree. But I will say, if there's one thing that could hold him back, it would be team record. Potentially. Because the West is tough.
Okay, but that didn't stop him with a 6-seeded Jokic last year either. So.
But, I mean, sure.
Or 6-seeded Westbrook 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's true. But that's what I'm saying. So it's like, what's Luka going to do this season that's different than what he's done in past seasons that's going to change things?
Fair.
Right?
I think it literally will be the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he has to change what he does once he gets rolling.
Gotcha.
All
right.
Any dark horses? I have one.
Go ahead.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards.
Ooh, that's a
dark horse.
I think it could be sneaky.
Zion Williamson.
I
think if things click in New Orleans and he puts up big numbers again, could have something special brewing.
LeBron James. LeBron James.
I hate that you say that because now it detracts from my credibility as a LeBron homer.
It does.
I almost said LeBron. I went with Zion, but I love it. I do because if things go right in LA,
I mean,
people are going to be looking to give
last
him
year. That's all they had to do
one
was
more
not
MVP.
stink.
One more MVP on the way out. Yeah.
Quick other note. I almost didn't go LeBron because it kind of goes against the year of Russ stuff. But anyways, Jason Tatum. Tell me, best player on a number 1 seed in either conference. Always in contention.
I'll have the same argument Devin Booker had last year.
Nice. All right.
I'm not actually wrong, but
you're not actually wrong.
He's so much better.
He's
than
just
Devin
so much
Booker.
better than Devin Booker. Yeah.
Because it's not like he's going to put up 29, 9, and 9. It'll be 27, 6, and 5, right, for Tatum.
He'll probably average more rebounds.
More than likely. So let's say 8 and 5.
Yeah.
But not Luke is probably going to go 29, 9, and 9, right? So
yeah. Rookie of the year.
Ivy. He's in the best situation.
Ivy. Oh,
that's what I
like
too.
that.
I went Jaden Ivey.
Oh, that's my dark horse. I went Keegan Murray.
I like.
I
went Keegan Murray
because
he's impressed every time he's been on the court.
Between those two.
He's impressed every time he's on the court, and he's going to have a chance to have a real role in Sacramento. It's similar for Ivy. Like I'm looking at teams that, like the difference with like Boncaro is I don't think the Magic are going to be very good. I don't think the Rockets are going to be very good for Jabari Smith.
Boncaro's so good though.
I think the Pistons are going to sneak into the play-in. I think the Kings are going to sneak into the play-in. And good discussion there.
Yeah,
good quick discussion.
Dark horse was Benedict Mathurin.
Oh yeah, the Pacers.
Because I think they just fire sale everybody, so he just ends up putting up crazy numbers. At the end of the day,
where did Mathurin go to school?
Arizona, right?
Arizona. Yeah, we were looking at it, I was like, oh, he put up an inefficient 18 and a half.
And no one cares about
these other guys were playing with other good players, right? So Ivy and Murray might be the best rookies, but they might only average 13 and a half, 14 points because of who's around them.
And no one cares about efficiency as a rookie.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Unless you are efficient, in which case, like
it's impressive.
It's impressive.
It'll only help.
Yeah. Let's go Depoy.
Oh, best defender in basketball. Ben Simmons.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The actual best defender in basketball,
No,
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes, Giannis Antetokounmpo is reclaiming the throne this year.
Yeah.
Dark horse.
Yeah. Dark horse is Ben Simmons. I misread my thing. I literally wrote down Giannis.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got
Evan Mobley. Mobley.
Andrew. Great minds think alike.
Yes.
I'm on the Evan Mobley hype train.
I've been all week. I'm like, Mike, I'm really proud of this pick. I love this dark horse pick.
Dude, I'm so glad you didn't.
That's great.
I'm so glad you didn't tell me beforehand because I have the same one. Evan Mobley.
Can I give you my dark horse one?
Another dark horse? Sure.
Jason Tatum.
I like that. But Evan Mobley.
Okay, get on.
Whatever.
Evan Mobley. It's a great one. I think with Jason Tatum, you're gonna look back at the end of the year and be like, he played really damn good defense this year.
That's fair.
And you're gonna say it in the playoffs too, but he's not gonna come close.
He's not gonna win the defense,
especially with Montrez winning it last year.
Yeah, Evan Mobley. I think he's a guy on the rise. He was really impressive last year.
His instincts, man. Everyone makes fun of the instincts, but the instincts.
He's got him.
All aboard the Evan Mobley hype train.
Choo choo.
Choo choo.
All right, sixth man of the year.
Brogdon
for both.
Brogdon.
Yeah.
I knew you'd say Brogdon.
Yeah.
So I want to shout out my guy Bones Highland.
Oh.
That was my dark horse.
Nuggets
that was my dark horse.
He steps up in the second unit. I think he could definitely turn some eyes. I also just couldn't stomach the idea of saying Jordan Poole or Tyler Hero, who will probably put up better stats. So let's go Bones. Let's see what you got. My dark horse was Anthony Simmons.
Okay.
I don't know if he'll end up starting next to Dame or not, so it's a tough one to call.
That'd be a weak defensive backcourt. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but if he comes off the bench behind Dame, I think they're going to look to get him more looks. So he might not technically start, but still play 30 minutes a night.
That's good.
And we saw that he can put up numbers. So
yeah. And hashtag year of Russ. If he does indeed come off the bench.
That's good.
Hashtag year of Russ.
So
dark horse.
I would love that.
What like character development, right? Wouldn't that be
you would
something?
have to give him props as a human for just
very humble,
putting the pride aside, which I don't think he can do. So if he does it, I'm going to be really impressed.
I think he can do it. Hashtag year of Russ. Most improved player.
Halliburton.
Okay. It's a good pick.
I went Cade Cunningham. Very Ja Morant-esque for me. I think he takes a big jump on the stats, and I think the hype around him starts to swell a little bit.
He's in Detroit, so no one pays attention.
Yeah, but I think
they'll be paying attention this
year.
I think they'll make him pay attention this year. He'll play. I think he gets up around 20-8 probably as a starter, and I think it's almost. I don't want to discredit the award, but it's almost like the award for the rising star who can actually get another award, like. He had a great year. Let's give him something. MIP. That could be Cunningham. He's not quite a top-tier all-star, not quite a top 2 all-NBA guy. But big improvement, big jump. 5 points, 5 points in per game and 3 assists per game, something like that.
Fair.
I went DeAndre Hunter.
Oh.
Wow.
DeAndre Hunter. Gallo's out of town. Kevin Huerter's gone. It's his wing. Sacramento. On your 10-seeded Kings who will knock off the 9-seeded Suns or something. I don't know. But, yeah, DeAndre Hunter. You love wings. He played really well in the playoffs last year. Unfortunately, no one was watching because the Hawks were getting blown out every game.
Trae Young was awful.
And Trae Young stunk.
Stunk.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling if he could end up averaging 17, 18 points a game, good shooter, good defender. I think that could be a good pick.
My
dark horses, yeah.
My dark horse, I just wrote anyone on the Magic.
Okay.
It's a lazy answer, but I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Andrew, you have a dark horse?
I do. Keldon Johnson on the San Antonio Spurs.
Guy.
They're going to let Keldon cook this year because that's the only choice they have.
LKC.
And they might finish 15th in the conference, but it won't matter because Keldon Johnson will put up like 27 points per game, shoot 45% from 3, and they'll have no choice. Because you can't win MVP if your team's the 15th seed, even if you put up the numbers. So you give him most improved player.
So, my dark horse is admittedly like a pitch black horse. But I think in terms of what it ends, maybe not for the award per se, but for what it means in the NBA, Moses Moody for the Warriors.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw last year a little bit. I think he takes a step. I think, hot take, the Warriors may be re-examining who they gave that $140 million to by the end of the year. Or maybe might take 2. Moses Moody, man.
Interesting.
Keep your eye on him. Unless he gets traded, which is very, very possible. But I like
it. Moses Moody, James Wiseman package.
It was very Sam Posman-esque of you, but I respect it. That was a great pick.
I can't stomach Jordan Poole, man.
Bastard. Hate Jordan Poole.
Moody at least plays defense.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Likes to play team basketball.
All right. We have one more category.
We do.
Coach of the Year.
Willie Green, all aboard the Pelicans train.
I knew you were saying Willie Green, so I went in a different direction. But go.
I went Darvin Ham. I think the Lakers are actually going to be good this year, and people are going to point to coaching.
So he's my dark horse because if things go well, everyone's going to be all over the Lakers.
Yes.
Exactly why your LeBron dark horse is a good one.
Joe Mazzulla is going to win Coach of the Year.
That's my dark horse.
Because if the Celtics finish first, and the team who finishes first, automatically your coaches are a candidate. The guy was thrown into the head coaching job 2 or 3 days before camp began. And then you come out and you finish as the first seed in your conference. That's about as impressive as it can get for a coaching job.
Yeah.
Joe Mazzulla.
Big if.
Big if, but if it happens, he's winning the award. And I'm in my projections, I have it happening. So he gets the award. All right, who'd you have as your dark horse?
It's Joe Mazzulla.
Oh wait,
For the same reason. If they're
Darvin Ham.
If they're good,
Yeah.
then they're just going to give it to him.
Mike Malone. I had the Nuggets finishing first in the West.
Yeah.
And that's a tough conference. Mike Malone.
Yeah.
There you go. Those are our award picks. Now, we have a fun segment here coming up. It's called 10 Questions. They do this on Felger and Maz, a local Boston sports radio show that I enjoy. And I decided, why not do 10 questions about the NBA season? So I have a list of 10 here. And we're gonna go around the table. Quick answers. We're gonna try to do 10 questions in roughly 10 minutes. That's the idea.
We can do it in 9.
We can probably do it in we'll probably be 15.
Oh, not with that attitude.
Okay. First question.
Are you answering the questions? Or
I also have answers to
He
the
will
questions.
answer the questions.
It's very Socratic of you.
I mean, I assume people want my opinion. I would hope people want my opinion. I would assume if they're
They
listening to
want
this
it more than
podcast.
yours, Sam.
What are they? They're fist bumping right now.
All right, number 1. There's been a lot of noise surrounding the Lakers this offseason in regards to trade rumors around Russell Westbrook. Does he end the season on the Lakers? And if not, where does he go?
He ends the season on the Lakers because Jeannie Buss isn't brave enough to trade him.
Indiana. Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. I think eventually they get desperate enough.
I think he plays well for the Lakers. He stays there all year. #year of Russ. But if he does get traded,
If that completely realistic scenario doesn't happen.
he ends up getting traded to Phoenix for Chris Paul. They do that swap.
Wow.
You get Chris Paul with LeBron, and because the Suns are a mess, they get rid of Chris Paul.
It.
And then next year we look at the Chris Paul trade for the Lakers as being a bad deal because they have Chris Paul under the books. I think it'd be fun. All right, number 2.
I would take that. That's a bad. Yeah.
Speaking of dysfunction, the Brooklyn Nets. Players don't like the head coach. KD and Kyrie both want it out. Ben Simmons is Ben Simmons. Do the Nets finish the season with all 4 of those guys on the roster? And if not, who ends up gone?
Nash is the highest likely of them to go, but I think they finish with all 4 on the roster.
I'm in agreement with that.
I think Kyrie ends up gone at some point.
So I'll see.
I just don't think anyone wants to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you could get halfway through the season and then have a team take on half a year of them
Okay.
for a playoff run.
Okay.
I think you could get that. All right.
Lakers.
Number 3. In the NFL, there's been this recent trend of crowning the Buffalo Bills as champs every year, despite them always underachieving in the playoffs.
Specifically
Every
after they beat
single
the Chiefs
year.
in Week 5.
Right, they beat the Chiefs, and this is what they do. They
5
beat the
or
Chiefs
6.
in Week 5.
Okay, we get it.
Everyone
You're a
crowns them.
disgruntled Pats fan and a Patrick Mahomes fan. There's biases here.
Name your pick for the NBA team who gets way too much praise for ultimately not as great of a body of work.
Miami Heat. Miami Heat. Miami Heat. It's the Miami Heat. It's Miami Heat. Miami Heat. Miami Heat.
Mike's thinking.
So
Mike's
it was
thinking.
the Clippers, but I think they turned it around.
Okay.
76ers.
Ooh, touche.
No, I think people are on to the Sixers. Miami Heat's the right answer.
Okay.
Like, everyone talks about the Miami Heat like, oh, what this just illustrious organization. It's like they
Heat
won with
culture,
LeBron.
baby.
They won with LeBron James, and they're a good team every year. Otherwise, that's all they are. I think they get talked up too much. All right, number 4.
They were damn close to 2 finals runs in 3 years with Jimmy Butler as their best player.
Close.
You're talking about going to the finals with a maybe.
We're not getting bogged down in arguments.
Sorry.
Close was the key word you used. All right, number 4. There were a handful of big-name guys traded this offseason, including Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, DeJounte Murray. Which of those three has the most immediate success on their new team?
Rudy Gobert.
Rupert?
It's Rupert.
DeJounte Murray. I think they're going to play well off each other.
I think Rudy Gobert. I think because Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland take time to figure out what's going on there. I think Trae Young and DeJounte Murray take time. Gobert doesn't need the ball on offense, so he just has to go in there and do what he's always done on defense. Now, it might be harder with, less perimeter defense with, D'Angelo Russell and Cat. But I think he'll fit in his role as nicely as you could out of those three.
Can I just say I'm so glad that when you asked the question, you listed off the players who got traded? Because when you started the question, I was like, who got traded?
I mean, there are other guys that got traded. I was
like, well, wait a second.
Listen,
my brain's not moving that fast.
I'm a professional. I come prepared.
I'm impressed.
All right, number 5, tool bag question. This is a staple of the Felger and Maz 10 questions.
What if we become?
Who is the biggest tool bag, or what is the biggest tool bag team and biggest tool bag player in the NBA this season?
Tool bag, because as soon as
Just
I hear tool, I hear Devin Booker.
Exactly. That's kind of the idea.
Oh,
just
is it like a play on douchebag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Devin Booker.
Yeah, it's
the Suns.
Or Dark Horse, LaMelo Hornets.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, the Hornets are coming out being like, we really want to play with Miles Bridges this year. Like, there's nothing more tool baggy than that.
That's fair.
I like that.
That's
Devin Booker, I didn't even come up with a team. Devin Booker is the player. We just wanted to make sure we got that across.
We had to cut some Devin Booker content out for
We at the Courtside family do not like Devin Booker.
Appropriateness.
No. We talk about friend of the show James Harden a lot.
Enemy of the show.
Enemy of the show Devin Booker. All right.
Nemesis.
Number 6. This offseason, we've seen some rookies sign big but not max extensions, including R.J. Barrett, Tyler Hero, and Jordan Poole. Start, bench, cut. Those 3 guys.
I'm starting R.J. Barrett.
Say him again.
R.J. Barrett, Jordan Poole, Tyler Hero.
Oh my God, you're gonna make me pick.
Yep.
I'm starting R.J. Barrett. Jordan Poole's coming off the bench, and Tyler Hero's cut.
Michael?
I'm starting R.J. Barrett, and man, I hope he has some cardio. 'Cause I'm not playing those. They're not on my team. I don't care if they can contribute to me winning basketball games. I will not coach those 2 players, so they're both getting cut. Sam, you can be my 6th man.
Let's go.
I don't care. I'm cutting those 2. And R.J. Barrett is going to D them up in the tryout so bad they're going to run home to Steph and Pat Riley, and we're never going to hear from them again.
I tried to be objective on this, so you start Jordan Poole, you bench R.J. Barrett, you cut Tyler Hero.
That's fair.
Actually, you cut Tyler Hero, and then you figure out with the other 2 guys.
But you cut Tyler Hero, and then when he's walking home from practice, you just go shoot him, and then you go figure it out with the other guys.
We're not
advocating to kill Tyler
violent.
Hero.
We just don't like the basketball player.
We just want him in the G League. All right.
That's what I meant. Shoot him off the court.
All right, number 8. Number 7.
Oh, cute.
The NFL has Hard Knocks. Which NBA team would you want to have a Hard Knocks-esque show?
All right. It is the Suns, but for the sake of not just banging on the Suns,
Lakers.
Yes. Right? That just feels like low-hanging fruit.
No, the Nets.
What's this?
The Nets.
Just for the Kyrie clips.
Because there's so much stuff there that you don't like. I feel like all the stuff with the Lakers we know.
Is there behind-the-scenes access?
Yeah, it's a Hard Knocks-esque show, and the Brooklyn Nets would be just
because there's going to be a sound bite of Kyrie being like, Ben, there is this monk who lives in the Alps, and he's never once.
There's a video like this.
Yes,
have you seen it?
No.
There's a video. Oh, I can't remember I didn't watch the whole thing. There's a video of some recording of a discussion between Katie and Kyrie, and Katie is sitting through the most Kyrie is saying something that is so out there, you can't fathom it, dude. I remember it was awesome. It was so good. It was exactly what you'd expect it to be.
Yeah. Anyways, Brooklyn Nets. That's the answer.
That's good.
Our dark horse would be Ime Udoka and Blake Griffin in the same locker room. But that can't happen. So
no, if you go back to 2 years ago on the Brooklyn Nets, there you go.
So it is the Nets.
It is the Nets. That's the answer. All right. Number 8. Recently, the NBA has been flirting with the idea of expansion. If the NBA added 2 new teams, which cities should they be located in?
Las Vegas and Seattle.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
So
And they should bring back the Sonics. It should be the Supersonics.
yes. Can I give a quick shout out to Nick Wright
Okay.
with a little argument that I thought was cool and I just wanted to mention quickly. So he had a theory on his podcast that the NBA would hold off expansion until LeBron retires and is ready to grab the team in Las Vegas. I don't think that's as far-fetched as some people might think upon initially hearing it. I think he has that level of power within the league. I think having another player, especially LeBron James, in the mix with Jordan, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty. There's some influential aspect to that, and I don't think the league's necessarily hurting for it. I think that could be the way it goes. I thought that was a pretty interesting theory to come up with. It feels a little bit like a conspiracy theory, but hey, like Jordan wielded some pretty crazy power towards the end of his reign too. So you never know.
Never know.
I say it's. Well, I think seeing a team in Vancouver could be fun, but I think Seattle's a lock.
Vancouver?
You have to bring it back to Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle has to be.
But I would also argue you don't need expansion. Right? Like,
Who would you move?
I would move
the
New
Thunder
Orleans.
back. New Orleans.
Yeah.
The tricky part with New Orleans is that the owner is also the Saints owner and doesn't really care about the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care.
If someone else was
someone
owning
else-
it, you
sure.
should have a team in New Orleans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Orlando doesn't feel like a pro sports city
No.
to me, but it's not the end of the world.
If you want out of Sacramento.
Like St. Louis. St.
No,
Louis.
St. Louis.
They have other, but they have other team. Well, I guess they only have baseball now. And
I'm
hockey.
pro teams
yeah.
in St. Louis.
Yeah, I would want a team in St. Louis.
Yeah.
But the NBA has some weird places
Yeah.
where they have teams. OKC, Sacramento, Orlando.
The OKC one is bizarre.
That makes
It
no
is.
sense to me.
All right, number 9. Every year since 2013, the NBA has awarded the Twyman Stokes Teammate of the Year to the league's ideal teammate who exemplifies selfless play and commitment and dedication to his team.
This was Grant Williams, right?
Last year, Grant Williams was a finalist. Drew Holiday ultimately took home the award, his second career Twyman Stokes Teammate of the Year award. If we were to pick the Courtside Podcast A-Hole Teammate of the Year award, who would you pick and why?
Patrick Beverly.
No. Rupert.
The answer is literally Draymond Green. He just punched
No,
Jordan
but
Poole
it's
in the
because
face.
it's because he has a desire to win, Andrew. He punches him out of love for the
His
sport.
championship medal coming through.
It is.
The answer is Draymond
The
Green.
answer is Draymond Green.
It's Rupert.
Draymond Green. It's getting to the point with Draymond where we talk about the ego to talent ratio
Being
with other guys,
preposterous.
and
Rudy
it's
Gobert started COVID.
okay.
That's fair.
That's fair. That's
I mean,
fair.
Was it coming anyway? Yeah. but
Hey,
like,
don't ignore that.
He was being an a-hole in that moment, though. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
And he didn't catch passes from Donovan Mitchell. That's his fault.
Yeah. Finally, number
He's
10.
French. What?
Number 10. If you could craft an ultimate narrative for this season, for any team or player, right? I'm not gonna give me the whole shtick of the season. Just any team or player, ultimate narrative.
It's always been Jaylen Brown's team. If I had to pick one, it was that Jaylen Brown's actually the guy that they thought Tatum was.
Okay.
So you're saying if I could choose the outcome of the season,
You could choose.
for
You
how
can
it-
choose the outcome of the season for however you see fit.
LeBron locks up the GOAT debate. If he wins an MVP, passes Kareem with another Finals MVP, you guys are running out of stuff to argue about. You guys are asking me, what am I going to say? I don't care about anyone else in the league nearly enough for it to be
fair.
anyone else.
Okay.
That's fair.
The only other one that possibly is Luka gets his Hall of Fame career on rolling with the title. That's it. But
That's inevitable.
I could give so much less of a crap that happens than seeing LeBron win another title.
Here we go. Here's the Western Conference playing picture. Wolves, then Lakers, then Suns, then Kings. The Kings go into Phoenix, and they beat the Suns. They end up as the 8th seed. The Lakers go into Minnesota, where Pat Bev had his infamous play-in performance. They beat Minnesota, and Pat Bev does it again. And then the Kings beat the Wolves, led by De'Aaron Fox. They beat Rupert. De'Aaron Fox has a massive dunk in the middle of game on Rudy Gobert, just for no reason. And then you get Lakers Warriors in the first round. Who cares? We've already had the perfect Western Conference playoff. There you go.
That's good.
There you go. And that is it for 10 questions. We did it in about 12 to 13 minutes.
Oh.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
That was not bad.
Long too.
Yeah. There you go. And that is it for our NBA pre.
Oh.
Way too early finals prediction. Real quick. 10 seconds each.
Clippers, Bucks in 6.
Sam?
Can I do what I want?
Sure.
What I think would be so fun.
Sure.
Lakers, Bucks.
Lakers, Celtics, dude.
Lakers,
Celtics. But no, with Lakers, Celtics, I would be too. I want Boston to win, but I really want LeBron to get another one. Like, I really want LeBron to get another one.
He can get another time.
No, but he can't.
That's right. This is it.
Are you serious? You do this every time when this. Oh my god.
No, I'm serious. Like,
every time the Celtics are in the playoffs, you hedge your bets.
That's why I'm saying I don't want them to have to play LeBron because I think the Celtics would actually win that. And I want the Celtics to win, but I don't want it to be at LeBron's expense.
I want Celtics Lakers. The battle for Banner 18.
That's what it is for me.
And
it's not just the rivalry. It's that whoever wins
gets
has the most
Banner 18.
ever.
And it's LeBron versus the Celtics. The team that started his career by beating him.
Oh yeah,
he has the he has the chance to like ultimate stamp father of the Boston Celtics.
Roll that.
He has the chance.
Give me that.
So
inject it into my veins.
This is such a soft answer. I couldn't handle that.
Emotionally, just couldn't.
I am deadly serious. I would be so stressed out.
Oh,
for
me
2
too.
weeks. Like Celtics Bucks, I'm already stressed out because LeBron's playing in the finals. But look, man, if peak Giannis gets him at the tail end of his career, it's not that deep. It's like Mike getting Magic right at the end of Magic's run. It's like it's just Magic got him there, whatever.
Yeah,
dude, if LeBron lost to Boston in the finals, the emotional devastation is like I couldn't watch sports the way I do ever again. It would be so bad. Like anything related to the NBA would come back to LeBron lost to the Celtics.
Yeah, it would.
It would be atrocious. Now, if they won, there's no greater natural high.
The electricity of that series, though, it would probably be the best series they've had.
I wouldn't enjoy it since 16.
Since 16.
Yeah, I wouldn't enjoy it though. I wouldn't enjoy a moment of it. Not unless LeBron raised the trophy. That would be the first moment I'd enjoy. I'm not kidding at all.
But you'd really feel like a Lakers player, wouldn't you?
I'm not kidding at all.
That would be electric. Realistically, if it's not that, in the highly unlikely chance that it's not Lakers Celtics, it's be Clippers Celtics in 7.
Celtics beat the Clippers handedly. In 7.
In 7.
It's like handedly.
I think Game 7 is a.
It's like we're the better team handedly.
Exactly, like how the Celtics beat the Heat last year.
Yes, exactly. That's very good, Andrew.
There we go.
I appreciate that, Andrew. And
let's end off with one of our favorite segments.
Can I jump in real quick?
Oh, yeah.
We got to go, and I want to hear the send-off. UFC 280 this weekend.
No.
What, is it part of it? Okay, I just wanted to give a quick shout and then let you roll. But if you
got
to incorporate it, I appreciate it.
I care for my fellow.
Okay.
It is time for Sam's send-off by Sam to end off this wonderful episode of the Courtside podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you missed it.
Where's Ben back?
A lot of negativity in this world.
Like Texas.
Ben releasing episodes
we'll get
for
to that.
4 weeks.
Shut up. A lot of negativity. I'm here to bring some positivity.
Okay.
It's been a good sports little bit for the Courtside podcast family.
Yeah.
I'll start off with myself. Arsenal top of the table. So good. Martin Odegaard, so talented. Texas is good. Top 5 quarterback in the nation. Xavier Worthy just said he's coming back next year, so that's their best wide receiver. So chilling. Saw the Michigan-Penn State game. That was pretty cool. Little maze out, go blue action. The Eagles are good, right?
They're okay.
Okay.
I mean, they wish they had Bailey Zappi, but they're okay.
Let's talk about Mike Randall. His Giants are good.
My Giants are good.
Why are his Giants good?
5-1? Are you kidding me?
His Giants are good. His Yankees are good.
Big game tonight. Big game. By the time this is released, I'll either be very much not good or feeling solid about whooping Houston's cheating butts.
Yankees Astros it's the nightmare ALCS for any Red Sox fan.
I'll cheer for the Yankees.
Give me all the Yankees. Yeah. All the Yankees Astros action.
Give me the enemy over the cheater 10 times out of 10. IMO. Right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Either way, they're losing in the World Series. That's all I know.
Mike's also got a big UFC weekend coming up.
Yes.
Talk more about
Care
that.
to explain.
UFC weekend. a tad bit of unfortunate scheduling here. So I play college football at the same time this card is at, so that stinks. But huge UFC card. I'll just talk about the top 3 fights. The whole card is stacked, so watch the whole event. But you have Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan. Yan's a top contender. O'Malley's an up-and-comer. Just kind of an exciting. Is it too early for the young superstar, or is it his time? We're going to kind of find out. It's a very enticing fight. That's at bantamweight. We then have the bantamweight title fight, which Yan, if he wins, will get another shot at. O'Malley, if he wins, I think would probably need to fight again, but you never know. Yan's the number 1 contender, so if O'Malley wins that fight, maybe he gets a title shot. But the actual title is between Aljamain Sterling, who's beaten Yan twice, is now credibly a deserving champion. There were questions about that in the past. Fighting TJ Dillashaw, who is the former champ of that division and was at one point a straight-up killer, until we all realized that he was taking extra testosterone, and that may have been benefiting his performance.
What?
But I could be wrong here. I think he has the most title wins at that division. So he's a killer, man. Like, this is TJ Dillashaw coming in. He looks good. Fighting Aljamain, that's going to be a fun fight. And then the main event is Charles Bronx Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev, which is one of the more hyped-up lightweight fights since Khabib and Conor fought.
Even I remember that one.
Yeah, this is a big one. So this is Khabib's protege, Islam Makhachev, riding a 10-fight win streak. I personally, don't want to have to watch another Dagestani champ because it's not super entertaining, although shout out Khabib, he is one of the great fighters ever. B, I don't think Islam deserves his title shot. His best win is over Bobby Green on short notice, which means nothing to you, but if there are any fight fans listening, I think it's a little early. There are other more deserving contenders in the division. But that being said, the hype behind Islam is immense. Regardless if I think he deserves the shot based on the resume, he is a dangerous, dangerous opponent. Maybe the most dangerous Oliveira could face because Oliveira's strength lies on the ground. He's UFC's all-time submission leader with 16. But Islam brings the Dagestani wrestling, ground and pound style to the fight. So the on-the-mat aspect of this fight, if you don't quite understand that aspect of the fight, of the game, which I'm still learning, but really didn't understand obviously at the beginning, you'll learn a lot. It'll be entertaining. It'll be a lot of good grappling action. I think Oliveira wins. I really damn hope he wins. It's technically for the vacant lightweight title, which Oliveira lost on the scale before beating Justin Gaethje. So everyone knows the champ is Oliveira. He's the best there is right now. He wins this fight, he potentially stakes claim to being the best lightweight of all time, which is a big-time stake in a loaded division. So there's massive hype behind both fighters. Oliveira's riding an 11-fight winning streak of his own. It's not quite a super fight, but it's bordering. It's a big-time event. UFC is back in Abu Dhabi, which is arguably the fight capital of the world. You have these two superstars clashing.
Not money, not
and lurking behind the scenes to all of this, Alexander Volkanovski, who is the undisputed champ at 145, I believe the best fighter ever at 145. He has been announced as the late replacement should Oliveira or Islam drop out. That is not small news. If for whatever reason one were to drop out, and I really hope they don't, he gets to fight for double champ status, which has only been achieved by a few fighters ever. So that's not a small thing to insert. Now, potentially, could there be a little something going on behind the scenes that the UFC is like, hey, we may need a replacement here. What's the next biggest name we can slide into this event? Volkanovski's that name, especially with the stakes he would be fighting for. Now, what I hope happens here is that the fight plays out. We get a great 4 or 5 round fight. Freaking Oliveira sleeps Islam. Man, like, I don't have anything to Islam himself, but I'm a big Oliveira guy. Everyone wants to see the comeback kid from Brazil put an end to the Dagestani reign in the lightweight division, and then we get Volkanovski versus Oliveira for Volkanovski fighting for double champ status. Oliveira will be defending his lightweight strap for the 3rd or 4th time, however you view the stupid nonsense on the scale. But regardless, we have a super event this weekend. I have been waiting literally since it was announced in like May or June for this. I am so excited. I am somehow figuring out how to tape it and watch it. So if any of my friends are listening, if you text me who won a fight before like 9 o'clock at night, we're going to have some problems. And we may be throwing hands like the dudes in the cage. This is big time. There's another one coming up in November I'll get to when we do another show beforehand. But fight fans, screw boxing. Throw down the $70, get a group together. Pay the pay-per-view, watch it, watch the real broadcast. This is going to be fun. This is going to be pretty cool.
Andrew's had a pretty positive experience in life too.
Yeah, outside of you taking your soul in FIFA.
That's besides the point.
I mean, it's FIFA. It's not my sport.
Patriots are sneaky nice with it.
They're sneaky going to end up 7-3.
They have a good quarterback in.
They have two good quarterbacks.
They have a good quarterback in Zappy.
They have a great quarterback
take the
and
compliment.
Good high-end backup.
They do.
But I do have Zappy fever.
You should. The Patricia Judge coaching situation is low-key better than we thought it was going to be.
I mean, realistically, it was hard for them to hit our low expectations and be that low.
Fair.
So, it hasn't been a total train wreck as of late.
Outside of football, your Boston Celtics come back tomorrow.
It's true.
You see the new jerseys with the gold?
I did.
Beautiful, right?
They're pretty good.
You liked them?
They look pretty good.
I thought the green was pushing a little.
It was a little Milwaukee
little
Bucks.
Milwaukee Bucks green. Yeah.
But hey, you know what?
I like
You beat the Bucks in the playoffs. You can do whatever you want.
You take their jersey color.
your boy Matt Turner. A couple of great clean sheets for Arsenal recently. A man of the match performance.
Yeah.
And, most notably, your Red Sox season is over, so you don't have to watch that anymore.
Thank God. Hallelujah, right?
Right?
He says as he
It's
wears
true.
the Boston Red Sox hat.
Yeah, that's a good look.
That's all I've got.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring some positivity to light.
It's all right. Hey. I'm also first on our board, on our big board of
Oh, yes, you
picking
are.
against
How
the
could I
lines.
forget?
I am
You are
first.
clinging to a lead right
I'm
now.
clinging. Listen, it looks like right now it looks like I'm clinging to a lead. We'll check back in a week and see how things are looking.
Samueli here somehow found the hot hand, and it is, let's go with frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
Let's go with frustrating.
But you can check out at the Courtside Podcast on Instagram. We post our picks every week, before and after.
We
Turns
do not
out
slate of
recommend
games.
you actually spend money on these picks.
That
Yeah,
being
no.
said,
Do not take our advice.
Do not take
Even
this
though we
advice.
are all better than everyone on CBS.
Yeah,
that
don't
being
take
said,
any
you would
professional advice either.
make money if you bet on all of our picks.
That's true.
You would. You would.
You would actually make a lot of money.
Unfortunately,
You would make money in that you wouldn't be in the red.
You would make
A
money,
lot of money. We're stretching it a little bit.
but it would not be worth the mental toll it would take
No.
to do that.
No.
But if
You do
have
not
dogs
want to be
there.
betting money on the Jaguars to cover games or Russell Wilson to not be Russell Wilson.
Let's ride. All right,
We're not ending on that.
that's it for today's episode.
Good Texas team this weekend.
Who are they playing?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State. Sam this morning said that Texas is back, and they play a team ranked higher than
So I
them
got
this
a question
weekend.
for you. How many times have you said Texas is back and meant it in the last 5 years? Is it just a Sugar Bowl? All right.
No, that was it. That was the only time.
But
Okay.
you feel it this time.
There's a different energy about this team that brings me both excitement and a lot of worry.
All right.
Okay.
You know what? Minorly hot take here. I'm in on Texas.
In and on Texas.
I'm in on Texas. My sister goes there. She's going to have a wonderful time attending football games for the next 4 years. But a little hiccup with the injury early on, I think it's going to make this year's record look a little worse than it should have been. Going forward, I'm in on Texas. They may even hold the phones. They may be ready to join the SEC.
Whoa.
They may show up, and they may not look, and they may look around and be like, "You're damn right, we're an SEC team.
Oklahoma.
We belong in this bleeping conference."
Oklahoma may be ready for the
Oklahoma,
Pac-12.
Oklahoma may be ready for the CAA or Conference
It doesn't.
USA
It
or
doesn't
whatever
even
the-
look like they could hang with. Yeah. So
They could probably beat UMaine or UNH, maybe.
I don't know,
Hey,
man.
there's a Moss kid on UBain.
There is.
Yeah, there is. There is. All right, let's end it there. Just short of 2 hours.
Let's go. That was our goal. We said under 2 hours.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Courtside, the NBA preview. It was a doozy of an episode, but we appreciate you sticking it out.
Skip to the parts you want to listen to.
Skip to the parts you want to listen to. And if you're listening right now, thank you very, very much.
Yeah, and you
We
should
greatly
probably
appreciate
find
it.
a better way to organize your time.
No.
Why would you say that?
Why would you say
We
that?
are peak sports content.
We are, and we're unbiased.
Get the microphone away from your face.
It's
Speak like a normal person. Breathe through your nose.
Thank you so much for listening to this edition of Courtside. Like, subscribe, leave a review, tell your friends about it. We'll be back next week talking basketball, talking football, talking not soccer.
The
We won't do
football
soccer.
talk will be up next week.
The
We
football
promise.
talk will be
We
back.
promise.
Thank you, guys.